morning, good afternoon, good evening to those people that maybe is tuned in a little bit early. I'm like 10 minutes early, but I'm just liking to make sure that everything's working before 4 o'clock when everything goes on. So if anybody, if anybody is logged on and they can hear me, give me a thumbs up if the sound is okay and the picture's okay. Everything should be okay. My little green dots are flashing on and off, so it should be okay working. God love Thailand. Hello, Les. Hello, David. Oh, there's a few. Is the sound okay? Is it everything working okay with the sound? Because that's my biggest problem. I always, for some reason, my little green dots flash on and off to say that it's working, and sometimes it isn't. Hey up, Les. How is it going, mate? Going fantastic. Thank you very much. Loud and clear, Les. Jim Collis. Thanks very much. Well, that's good. And it's a bit of a change of scenery today. I've turned the table around. So rather than looking in that direction, overlooking the sofa and things like that, I've changed it around. Now, this house here, as I say, loads of people like that house. And they've got nice gardens around there. And it is a nice house. So there's a single Thai girl who lives in there. Apparently belongs to a German, but she's looking after the house. And we've been here for 7 years, and she's looked after the house for 7 years, and the German guy's never been back to the house. So nice living housekeeper. How did everything go with the caravan, Dave? Did everything go okay? Did you get the bike put onto the back and made sure everything was working? I hope so. I hope everything was working. But I worked in the caravan. When I retired from the fire service, I went on a course, and it was like a 2-month course to do with everything with servicing caravans, because that was going to be my job. I was going to travel around Europe servicing people's caravans or servicing British caravans. And we went down to a couple of factories where they actually made the caravans, and we spent 2 whole days just looking on the chassis of caravans and the loading and things like that, and how to make it a stable ride and things like that. So hopefully everything is good, Dave. Thanks very much. Good. Because to say altering something like that is a big thing if you get it wrong. But I'm glad everything's going okay with it. I seen another guy with a video of putting a bracket on the back of his truck to put the bike on. Now that cost him 19,000 baht, but he still had trouble, because the idea that he had a little Honda Click 125 and he wanted to put it on the truck. The back part of his truck wasn't big enough to put the bike in, so he had this bracket made, 19,000 baht from Bangkok, and but he still had trouble getting it onto the rack, even for 2 people. So then he had to buy a jack to jack it up to get it level to push it on. So for me, it sort of defeated the object. So hopefully everything goes okay with yours, Dave. But yeah, taking on a 3-day trip. I love my caravanning. When I caravanned all over Europe and around England, I loved it. In fact, I could have just ended up living in my caravan. Funny enough, before I met Ploy, I was all prepared to go around Europe in a van with a mattress and a porta potty, and I was going to do that for 6 months and live in Thailand for 6 months. And it just so happened that I met Ploy a week or so before I was planning to go to Europe. So how was that for fate? You know, changed my life totally. So now me mattress in the van and porta potty traveling around Europe is on hold. Whether it happens, I don't know. It might happen when I get my full pension money, and that gives me a little bit more disposable income, but who knows? But yeah, the caravan life, traveling around in a van, certainly appeals to me. So that's that. I've got some the coffee mugs. This is a special edition for the Australians. got the normal ones, but I've got the Australian ones also. So I got me coffee. So we're still about 5 minutes away. Oh, very nice. I'm a big coffee drinker. I love me coffee, I must admit. So yeah, 24 people in the house up to now. 27. Wow, that's getting good. So we've got lots to talk about today with regard to what's been happening in the last week or 2 weeks, and I've got many more subscribers because of a couple of videos that I put on, and we're gonna go through them couple of videos that I put on and maybe explain a few more things to those people who's got the questions and things like that. One of them's about house rental in England and how not to get scammed and done over by, and the other one is the retirement one for pensions. Now I was quite shocked, 4,500 views on that one, so that warrants some extra talking about. And on top of that, we've got insurance, my 90-day online. That video will come very shortly because I've got an online 90-day to do, so I'm going to go step by step with my own 90 days so you can see it step by step. How to protect yourself from losing your house and your property and all your goods and everything else here in Thailand. Buying off plan, and 10,000 subscriber competition. Well, not competition, the prize, 10,000 subscriber prize. I'm only 500 subscribers away now for 10,000, which is fantastic, and I thank every single person that's subscribed. But what I'm going to offer when I get to me 10,000, for any people that subscribe, and I'm going to do a special video for me 10,000 subscribers, and I'm going to offer a 2-night break at a resort near me. So it's a 2-night resort and an evening meal, and I'll pay for that. And it's a beautiful resort, and it's near me. Maybe that's the disappointment that you'd have to spend a few hours with me. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, that's my prize for me 10,000 subscribers. So if you want to enter it, it'll be on the video, and as long as you subscribe, you'll go into the draw, and somebody will win that. I'll maybe over a 2-week period, then I'll draw a winner out. So that's quite good. 10,000. That's took nearly 4 years to get to 10,000. Some of my other YouTubers have got to 10,000 within months, but it took me 4 years. Maybe my channel is a bit boring. It's not for everybody. I know it's not like some of the Pattaya ones, but I live a different lifestyle to those people that live in Pattaya and the sort of entertainment industry where the big thousands and thousands of views they get. Scantily clad women. In fact, somebody said to me I might get more views with my car washing videos if Ploy washes the car. That's never going to happen. I don't think Ploy has ever washed the car in the 4 years we've had it. Hi, Les. It won't be long before I'm back, and looking forward to catching up. Yeah, May won't be long before May comes. That's basically just around the corner now. Now we're into March. So, yeah. Good morning from Redcar by the Sea. Oh, good morning, Redcar by the Sea. I hear it's a bit frosty this morning in the northeast. I've got to say, I mean, I like Redcar. We moved to Redcar when I was 11 and I left when I was 50. So Redcar holds a lot of memories for me. I worked in the steelworks at Redcar. You know, I worked in the fire brigade, you know, around the Cleveland area, and I was in Redcar Station for quite a few years. So yeah, Redcar is always a part of my memory, and it always will be. The good points and the bad points about Redcar. But as I say, when I retired at 50, it was time to move on. And I've got to say, I always meet up with the lads that I used to work with when I go. And I've got to say, a Friday night out in Redcar, it's terrible. It was never ever good at the best of times, but Friday night in Redcar now isn't good. But yeah, Redcar, the lemon tops I don't like the lemon part, but I like the ice cream. But that shocked me. £2 for an ice cream. So we're almost there, 3:59. So we're almost at 4 o'clock, and that's when I'll start the meat and gravy, if you like, of the live stream. Now you might hear a little bit of a fan noise because here at the minute it is boiling hot. It is 33.2 and a humidity rate of 73%, which is very, very high. And I've got to say, we're in the hot season now, and it is hot. I've just had a shower before I've come out because it is so hot. And I've got to say, if there's one thing I don't like about Thailand is the hot season. And we've just come back from Ploy's, my wife's farm up in Karat, and I've got to say it was even hotter there. Her house is a hot house, and we had air conditioning at her house, but sadly we only went there for 3 days, but it wasn't working, and we weren't going to be there long enough to get air conditioning engineer to come and fix it. I had a quick look at it, couldn't find out what was wrong with it. So 3 days we were there, and we're probably not going to go up again for another 3 or 4 months. So it wasn't worthwhile fixing. We'll have it fixed the next time now that we've broken. But boy, oh boy, was it hot during the night. I was tossing and turning. We only had one fan. And although where I live now here, we only have two fans, should say, in the bedroom. We don't use the air conditioning because we live by the coast. It is much cooler here than it is up in Karat. And I've got to say, thank goodness for that. We can sleep in our bedroom, you know, with just 2 fans on, and it's good. So yeah, living by the coast, it does have its advantages. So let's have a look. Bill Simpson, hello, nice to see you. Always nice to see you, Bill. One of my staunchest supporters. Thanks very much. Nice output. What's June like for the heat? June is it's rainy season, so it cools down a little bit in the rainy season. Yeah, I'm in Karat at the moment, and the heat is killing me. Yeah. We were near CQ. I don't know whether you know where it's CQ, but we're actually 90 kilometers away from Karat itself. What it was, my wife's brother bought a house in Cabinbury, brand new house. So we went up to the celebration at Cabinbury, which is halfway to my wife's house, and Ploy's mum and dad and family and that came down for the house blessing. So we decided to go up to the farm for 2 or 3 days and go spend 2 or 3 days with the family. But boy, it was so hot. I've never felt uncomfortable at my wife's house, but with no air conditioning, there was no respite from it because it was just hot all day and it's hot all night. And after 3 days, I've got to say, I was glad when she said, "Okay, let's go back to Rayong." And it's like, yeah. Even taking my wife to the market with air conditioning in the car was a relief. It was lovely. But anyway, I digress, type of thing. Let's have a look, see what else is near. There are 2 other Thai live streams, Buzzing Patia and the guy who now lives in the UK, Thailand bound, not great timing, haha. Well, there's, I've got to say, there's sort of different niches with Buzzing in Patia. Trevor is all about Patia, so anybody that's interested in Patia really isn't interested in my type of channel, because Patia and where I live is two different things. And Thailand bound, the great storyteller, he's a storyteller, and you know, all of these true stories, who knows if they're true or not? You can just make any story up. But he does well. He lives in Bangkok, so he's sort of different niches type of thing. And I've got nothing. I mean, I like Trevor. I've spoken to Trevor a few times on the internet type of thing, and I like Trevor. In fact, I send people down to go and see Trevor who were coming to Patia for the first time, and you know, because Trevor does the bar crawls and things like that. So he's a good guy, Trevor. And Thailand bound, I sort of used to watch him when he was in England telling the stories and that. And it just amazes me how many views he gets for people, for reading a few stories out. Fantastic, but are they to be believed or not? I don't know. Again, different niches. So I've been at my time for 2 or 3 months now. So if they want to change their times, that's up to them. But never mind. I've still got 34 people tuning in. I'm okay with that. So, right, let's have a look. Thailand retirement. Hi, Les. I was to ride my motorbike from Junction to your house. How long would it take me to get to your house? 1 hour, 30 minutes, about. That's if you come the Route 36. That's on the main, like Sukhumvit Road. But if you come through Sathip and Rayong city itself, maybe it's another 15, 20 minutes. But I would come the Sathip way and through Rayong city, because the roads are quieter. I used to ride from Jump TM to Banpay on that Sukhumvit Road, and I don't like that road. I don't like it at all. It's too busy. There's lots of lorries on it. So I used to take the extra 15, 20-minute ride and go through Sathip, and it's sort of the coastal route, but you don't see much of the coast. But that's a much quieter ride. But yeah, 1 hour and a half, 2 hours at the very, very, very most. And it's, do the Sathip route. It's much safer. Especially on a motorbike, because I used to have a PCX and I was doing 80, 90 kilometers an hour on that main road, and the lorries, what they do, if there's a pothole, they'll move to the left, and if you're in the left-hand lane, they could easily if they didn't see you, they could easily knock you off. And that's my biggest thing that I was worried about driving on that road, is lorry drivers. So I used to overtake the lorries, not undertake them. So, and being on a motorbike, there's lots of potholes. I mean, the road, to be fair, is a little bit better now than what it used to be, but hey ho, yeah. But in answer to the question, 1 hour and a half to 2 hours. Frank Travels, hi there, Les and chat. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I mean, I do another channel, and I'm doing this because of people ask me about making money online. So I've got 2 things that I'm doing. I'm doing a faceless YouTube channel, and it's Scary Stories, and all my stories are wrote by ChatGPT, all of them, and then I use Canva to put the videos onto it, and then I use Artlist to put the scary music onto it. so like, the rip-offs, you can, ChatGPT is brilliant for making stories up. So you can write whatever stories you want. And I could tell you, I could sit and list 20 or 30 horror stories. I've been here for 12 years, so I know plenty of horror stories, but I don't like doing the horror stories. I've done a few, and to be fair, they get the biggest views because it's a horror story, Expat Gone Broke in Thailand. I think it's got about 85,000 views. Expat Broke in Thailand. 85,000. It's my biggest viewed video, and it's a true story. And it's not a made-up story. It's a true story. But yeah, AI can make anything you want. Hi, Les from Portsmouth. Hello, Portsmouth. I did a little bit of down in Portsmouth. I joined the Navy when I was 16. So I was down in Portsmouth, HMS Raleigh. I love my time. I love the basic training of being in the Navy. And I joined the Navy because I wanted to travel the world, even at 16. So I joined the Navy, and I went to HMS Collingwood for my training to be an electrician. And it was in the winter time, and the barracks that they put us in were bloody awful, really awful. And I wasn't very happy, and I had a girlfriend as well back at home in Redcar, And when I asked the guy how long it was going to be before I was on the ship, and he said 5 years. So I just envisaged 5 years spending my time on the base at HMS Collingwood, and I didn't like it. So I discharged by option. Was it a good move or was it a bad move type of thing? I don't know. What would have been, but I joined the Navy to travel the world. I didn't want to stay 5 years in the place where they put me at 16 years old. And I was also the youngest. When I got to Collingwood, everybody could stay out until 8 o'clock the following morning. But because I was only 16, I had to be back at 10 o'clock every night. So we had our barracks looked at by the lieutenant. I used to get the bollocking every night when he found dust, and so I used to have to tell everybody in the morning, hang on, I got bollocked last night. Well, clean it up then, you clean it up. So it wasn't a happy time, so that's why I left. But yeah, Portsmouth, I like Portsmouth. Very, very nice down there. What would a Bolt taxi cost for me to get there? Well, if you come in the minivan, I've got a guy coming to see me on Tuesday, and it's 350 baht, and that's by a minivan. You can get a bus from Pattaya to Rayong, but Rayong's still another 35-40 minutes away from where I live. So the minivans, if you're going to go to Banpay, then if you're going to come down, send me an email and I'll meet you down in Banpay. There's a coffee shop, Amazon coffee shop, opposite Nun Dip Pier. And that's where I meet people, and I'll pick them up from there, and we can have a coffee down there or whatever. But yeah, 350 baht by minivan. If you get a taxi, it's about 1,000 baht. But say the bus drops you off at Rayong, the bus no longer comes all the way to Banpay, which is sad, really, isn't it? It should come all the way to Banpay, but it doesn't. Good morning, guys. Did you get my message about budget? On Wednesday the 6th, they will talk about. Oh yeah. They're going to talk about the pensions. I've got, as you can imagine, I got that many emails. Some I still haven't responded to, not emails, messages, I think. Yeah, they're going to talk about the pensions on Wednesday. Yeah, I think at the minute they're not going to do anything drastic because it's a vote loser, isn't it? But there's a threat with the triple. I like the budget. I like politics. I like things like that. So I will be watching it on Wednesday. But let's face it, it's going to be a bribe. They're going to bribe people on Wednesday to vote for the Conservatives. That's for sure. They're going to be massive tax giveaways and, well, hopefully massive tax giveaways. But with the highest tax nation now since Second World War. The Conservatives are a party of low taxes, with the highest it's been since the Second World War. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, I shall be watching it. I shall be watching it for sure on Wednesday. So I'll be watching it on Wednesday. What's the process for traveling? For living in Thailand and traveling to Laos? I don't know. I've never been to Laos. I've only ever actually not been to Cambodia either. I've only been to Vietnam. But yeah, there's plenty of organized trips going to Laos and Cambodia. So it's not difficult. You can just go across the border and away you go. It's not difficult at all. Question: bought a condo in Jomtien and have land office certificate. Do I need to get a yellow book? Seems a lot of hassle for little benefit. Yeah, it's a lot of hassle, but it's up to you really. By getting your yellow book, then you can get the little ID card, which you can use for booking into hotels and things like that. And also, you don't have to pay, like for me, if I went to Koh Samet, because it's a national park, I have to pay 200 baht. But if you have this card, then you only have to pay the same as Thai people, 40 baht. So, swings and round. I'd go and get it because you can go and get it. Go and get it. And you know, then if you want to buy a car or motorbikes, buy or sell a motorbike or a car, then you don't need a residency certificate because you've got the little card and you've also got your yellow book. So it does have some advantages, not a lot, but I think every little advantage helps, doesn't it? So jump through the hoops. If you're retired and you're not busy, it just fills in another day. Highlights: how often do rental properties like yours in Rayong pop up and would be allowed to buy a small property to live in if we came over to retire? John and Cian from South Wales. Now, the house that we live in here, the landlady, she's got, I think, 10 or 12 properties in the area we live. So they come and go. And we had a couple looking for a property maybe a month, 6 weeks or so ago. And we rang the landlady up, and she usually has one or two about, but she had none. Everything has been taken, you know, certainly 10, maybe 12, because she's built another two. I don't know whether they're quite finished or not now, but let's say 12, but all of them have gone. And we struggled to find a place for this couple that we knew, but we eventually found somewhere. But yeah, they come and go. Properties over here, you can still own a property. In fact, I'm going to go and talk a little bit about that a little bit later on in this video with regard to buying property and how you can save money and things like that. So there are many ways of doing it. I know by the letter of the law, a foreigner isn't allowed to own the land. Well, you don't have to own the land. You know, you can lease the land, which gives you a 30 plus 30 plus 30. But I'll come on about that a bit later on. But yeah, there is ways and means of doing it. But I would say before you actually committed to buy anything, go and live in several areas, and then you get a feel for it. I like Rayong because it's not on the tourist map, so everything here, for me personally speaking, I feel is much cheaper because it's not a tourist area. Things are cheaper, food's cheaper, accommodation's cheaper. It's just a more realistic Thailand, if you like, rather than living in the tourist areas. For like now, Phuket, wow, it's up to 10 times more to rent a place in Phuket now than it was before COVID happened. And the prices of property down Phuket as well have gone through the roof. So yeah, if you want to live in a tourist area, you pay the price to living in a tourist area. Now, we have lovely beaches here. We have some nice restaurants here. So for me, there's everything here that I need at a fraction of the cost than if I lived in a tourist resort or a tourist area. Okay. Highlights: has the new Thai tax law affected you in any way? There is so much hype about this tax system at the minute about Thailand. You're going to get charged 35%. We're a load of BS. 35% is the upper Thai tax limit. At the very high earners at 35%. So us people who are living on our retirement income from the UK, America, or wherever it's from, you will never ever have to pay 35% tax. Never ever. And if there's tax treaties in place with your country, that's going to play something as well. But in reality, there isn't an answer as yet. Even the top tax experts don't know what's happening yet. And it's supposed to be law from the 1st of January. Here we are now in March, and we're no further forward. Nobody knows. There's not even any rumors coming out to say, oh, well, it might be this, it might be that, might be the other. All it is clickbait for those people who are saying, do this for your tax, do this for your tax, consult a financial expert. And at the end of the day, they'll just tell you, just wait. But they'll charge you money to tell you, just wait. Just wait. There's free advice from Les. Just wait. Wait and see what's going to happen. That's free advice. Don't do anything. Cross that bridge when you get to it, because worrying about it isn't going to do anything anyway. And so my advice is don't. Am I worried about it? Not at all. And I'll just cross that bridge when I come to it. Am I going to get taxed at 35%? I'm almost 99.9% certain it will never, ever be 35%. If anything, if you earn money over here, you have to earn 150,000 baht a year. Is it 155? Anyway, 150,000, it might be 150,000 baht a month. I don't know. But anyway, 150,000 baht is a lot of money before you even start paying tax. So let's see what happens. I think it's 150,000 baht a month. I didn't think the new tax law have been no, they haven't been enforced. Well, they're supposed to have started from January the 1st. So next January, everybody's going to have to show the tax or one thing and another. This is what they say. But do you know what really, really happened with it? Is that the Thai government, because they're short of money, they want to claw back all of the extra money. Somebody said, give me a figure the other day, whether it's true or not, I don't know. 60 million population here and only 2 million people here pay tax. So I find that a little bit hard to believe. But anyway, what happened? The government cast their net out to capture these wealthy Thai people who are avoiding paying tax. But sadly, because they cast their net out, the smaller people is being caught, or the smaller fish are being caught in the net as well. So therefore, they are being caught with the same net, if you like, for paying tax. But that's never ever, in my opinion, it's never ever going to happen. Let's just see what happens in the future. Okay, let's have a look. Still, who knows? Yeah, nobody knows. So cross that bridge when you come to it. Don't worry about it. As an issue that can put yourself into trouble along areas close to the border. Need to look carefully at point 3 of the pink ID card limited to your province or residence. I don't know. The advantages of a pink ID card: get it if you can get it, use it if you can use it, and then just, if it saves you. For me, I could get somebody offered me one. Say, if you give me 5,000 baht, Les, I'll get you a pink ID card. I'd sooner pay the 200 baht to get in the national parks. As far as saving me money is concerned, there's a lot of 200 bahts and 5,000 baht. So I'll wait until we get this house paid for, then I can get one legally anyway. So I'm not bothered about the pink ID card. So yeah, it's good for some things, but not for everything. Question: where you contracted out on your 5-year pension, it makes a big difference in your state pension benefit. Yes, I was contracted out, so yes, it does make a big difference. And as I say, we'll go on to that with regard to pensions and things like that, because what time is it now? It is 4:22. 4:22, and so that's on my list to talk about pensions, because the last video that I did, I got over 4,500 views on it, and I've got loads and loads and loads of comments onto it. So if anybody's got any questions with regard to the pensions, just if you want to ask things about the question, put a Q on the comments, and then I can see it's a question, then I can sort of go through it. But I apologize if you put it on and I miss it, because the questions or the chat's scrolling up and I might miss it whilst I'm answering a question. Well, basically, I did this video a couple of years, sort of a similar video to the one that I've just put out a couple of years or so ago. But at the time, this is before we all knew we were going to get a 10.1% pay rise last year and 8.7% this year. So it was only going to be in the regions of between 12-15%. And even then, you were just to say on the border of making it financially viable, going to the Philippines, to the reciprocal country. So I made a few phone calls and asked about, living in this reciprocal country to be able to claim for your full pension rise. Now, I knew nothing about this at all, and I was still 4 years or so away from the pension, but I look at all sorts of things, and somebody mentioned that I wouldn't get a pension rise in Thailand, so I looked into it, and it quite shocked and surprised me that, oh, I didn't know that. So if I didn't know it, there's got to be thousands of other people who don't know it either. So for those people that are living in Thailand from the UK and get the state pension, you ain't going to get any more increases at all. Once you tell the pensions department that you're living in Thailand full time, you do not get a increase in your rise. And I know, and I can hear it now, all those people, well, don't tell them, don't tell them, don't tell them. But the government are struggling for money at the minute. As you know, they're paying out millions of pounds on various other things. So them little bean counters are looking at every single way how they can get the money back. Now, the reason why I've done this other video is because I signed a petition 2 years ago, and they brought it up in the Houses of Parliament or whoever they did to there's 500,000 pensioners don't get the annual increase. In fact, I had a guy talk to me or send me an email the other day. His pension is £71. So, wow, would he get a big rise if it comes up with £221? He'd love that every week. And he's going to go through it. But I think he's going to go live in the UK for 6 months to get it. So when I looked at it and I redid the figures, and it's 24%. Now, at 24%, it is well worth doing. And there's other people who've said, no, it's not worth doing, you know. Now, to some people, it's going to be worth doing. To some people, it isn't going to be worth doing. But when all said and done, £2,735 extra per year is better in my pocket than leaving it in the government's pocket. And that's based on those people who retired in 2019, 2020, and told the pensions department that you've moved to Thailand or whatever, and you don't live in a reciprocal country. Now, for those people who turn around and say, don't tell them, there was an article on Patty News with regard to the Brits could be in trouble for not informing the pensions department that they're actually living in Thailand. I forgot about that, but if you have a look on Patty News, they do videos every day, and just look for the ones, you know, are British expats in trouble living in Thailand? And he was on about that the government are going to be looking at people who are living in Thailand, or words to that effect. And the fact that if you don't inform the government, the UK government, that you're living in Thailand, they could actually reduce your pension. They will take back any overpayments, and it is classed as fraud. And if you get done for fraud, that gives you a criminal record. And Thailand doesn't want you if you've got a criminal record. So if you apply for the OA visa, you sometimes ask for a criminal records check. And if it's got fraud on there, the likelihood Thailand might not let you in. Now, there's other ways of getting here, coming here on a tourist visa, and they don't do any criminal checks, things like that. So, but that might come in the future. So that's what I'm saying. Don't tell them, you know, if they find out, they find out. But let's face it, they could stop your pension for many months. Let's say you've done it for the past 4 years. 4 years at 2,700, you know, over 10 grand, over £10,000, they could stop from your benefits. And depending on your age and circumstances, how much you're going to take off you every month, is it worth it? I don't think so. So when I do mine, your pension gets frozen at the time you draw it. So I'll get the 10.1% last year and the 8.7% this year, because I'm not drawing it yet. But it's only when I draw it, that's when it's frozen. And at the odd 2 or 3%, it's not worth doing. Even after 10 years, you know, it's not a lot of money. But at 24%, it's well worth doing it. So when I rang the pensions department up in England, and I said to them this, and even it says in the last video, the woman said, I don't know about that. And this is the pensions department didn't know. She couldn't tell me. So she passed me, she called her supervisor, and the supervisor told her, and she called me, and I said, are you 100% sure? She said, yeah. Live in the reciprocal country for 185 days, you will get your full pension rise from the day you arrive in that country. And then as long as it's over 185 years, and if you leave that country, 185 days, not 185, I'd like you to live for 185 years. So you will get that new increase rate then, as long as it's within that financial year. This is what the lady told me. So I did the video, and I've only ever had one person email me and said, Les, the information that you give is wrong. He called the department up, and I've given the telephone numbers, the International Pensions Department. I've given the telephone, so you can ring the horse's mouth and ask them the questions yourself. And to find them numbers, it took me a long time to actually pin it down to get to the right person, to the right numbers. And he says they made a mistake in giving me them answers. So because he told me that, okay, I've let it slip for a couple of months, and then I got this report back from the pensions department saying they ain't going to increase it, they ain't going to pay anybody that isn't in a reciprocal country. I rang the pensions department again up in England, and I said, I'm going to do a video on this, so this information has to be 100% correct. And I said, if you can't tell me the answers, please give me the person that can give me the correct answers. And I give the answers that I got off the telephone in the last video that I did. That as long as you live in a reciprocal country for 185 days, you will get that increase. And once you leave the country, then you can get it. So, and there's plenty of, I put the list of reciprocal countries, and the closest one to me is the Philippines. And it actually isn't very difficult to go and live in the Philippines for 6 months of the year. And the government really are using your money to pay for your holiday. And if you look at the bigger picture, those people who say it's not worth it, yes, it might cost you a few bob in the first 1 or 2 years, but let's look at it for 10 years. That's £27,350 in your pocket over a 10-year period. So isn't that worth a couple of grand, to go and live in the Philippines? It's no hardship living in another tropical paradise, is it? A couple of £1,000 for the 6 months to get another £2,700 a year. So look at the big picture, not just the small picture. To get a visa every month is simple. You can renew your visa in the Philippines every single month for 3 years. Then you have to leave the country and come back in again. Then you can do it for another 3 years. In fact, there's a guy wrote to me from the Philippines. He took my advice 2 years ago about this video, and he moved to the Philippines. So he actually lives in the Philippines. So he's the guy. He's going to send me his email details. So if anybody wants to contact somebody and ask them how to go about living in the Philippines for 6 months or so, this guy can help you. And he's going to send me his email details. So if you want to know, I'll put my email address on here. Send me an email and I will send you his details. 58@yahoo.com. Okay, Leslie Peace from 58@yahoo.com. Just send me an email. And anybody who wants to know about living in the Philippines or wherever, or even just inquiring about it, I'll gladly send you his email details, and you can go from there. So basically, that's just the, my quick sort of view on the pensions. And I appreciate everybody that sent me questions with regard to that. 4,500 views in a couple of days, fantastic. So it just goes to show there's a lot of interest with regard to that. Contracted out was another con. Yeah, my pension is split between contracted out and in. The contracted out part increased much less. Yeah, but thankfully I do get a good fire brigade pension. So I was sort of never rely. I can live on my 5 brigade pension. Just living on that is good enough. But to get another pension, then that's fantastic. And you know, I'm 2.5 years away from that. Question: Hi Les, is it possible to rent a car in Rayong without a credit card? As I don't. Yeah, you can rent a car without a credit card. All you need is your passport details and where you're living and things like that. So yeah, passport, you can rent a car in Rayong, no problem. Time on my border. Oh, that's a chat between people who want to leave this country and come back. Who would like to live in the Philippines? Now, I can't say anything about living in the. I've never been to the Philippines. I've looked at it, and it's only £150 return to fly to the Philippines. There was one American guy that went across to the Philippines because he wanted to go and have a look, and he lived there for 6 months. And I always remember one of the videos that he did. He said, if I left anything in my front garden for 6 months in Thailand, he said it would be still there 6 months later. He said, if I left anything in my front garden in the Philippines, 6 minutes and it'd be gone. So apparently the crime, you know, is through the roof in the Philippines. They have armed guards at 7-Eleven, which isn't good. They have a massive crime and drugs problem in the Philippines. But also there's thousands of people who like the Philippines. Some people like the Philippines better than Thailand. So I can't really comment on that, but you know, I'm sure there's some beautiful places in the Philippines as well, you know, so go and give it a look. I mean, the other alternative is if you don't want to live in the UK for 6 months to get your pension rise, go and live in Turkey for 3 months, then go and live in England for 3 months. You can live in any reciprocal country as long as the total time that you've spent is 185 days in that financial year. I mean, Jamaica is on, and the Mauritius is on the reciprocal countries as well. 3 months in Mauritius, 3 months in Jamaica. Now, that will cost you a lot more than going to the Philippines, but it's another option, isn't it? God love Thailand, I'm back. Hello, Dave. On that pension department, UK, that information on residents, reciprocal country, should have gotten written form with that information. Yeah, yes and no. You know, I think that department is going to be inundated with phone calls on Monday and Tuesday, following such a huge response on this one topic. 24% is a massive rise. So I'm sure, and I've asked the people that who've ever, you know, wanted the numbers type of thing, send me feedback that I'm correct or I'm not correct. And so let's see what happens. I don't think departments like that want to put anything in writing. So I don't know. So anyway, we'll see. I asked for the factual information. The list of reciprocal countries is in a printed format, and I put that on the video as well. So they're all the reciprocal countries that you can live in. Now that's 100% for sure because it's there in black and white. But you try to find out anything that's written. It took me ages and ages and ages, and I looked through all sorts of documents and procedures and things like that. There was not an answer to what the lady gave me when I spoke to a human being on the other end of the phone with regard to living in a country for 185 days. And that's why I put on the thumbnail, this is what they don't tell you. So, you know, to give her an instance, one guy contacted me and he said, Les, he said, I rang them up and I said, if I live in England for 3 months and I come back to Thailand, will I get the new rate? And she says, no, because this is the guy that was on £71. And whilst he was in England, living in England, he would get the new rate. But after 3 months, when he came back to Thailand, it would be reduced back down to £71. So he was asking me the question why, and I said because it's now 185 days. If you only do 182 or 183 days, you ain't going to get it. It has to be 185. She was so specific on the 185 days. So 1 day less, you ain't going to get it. 1 day more, and you're going to get it. So they don't tell you what you want to know. You have to ask the direct questions. If it was this, if it was that, and it's either a yes or no answer. But they will not freely give you this information. You've got to think about the questions that you need to ask and the questions that you need to know. So yeah, pensions, it's a massive, it's just crazy. And also, did you know that if you're married to a Thai girl, anything after 2016, if you're married to a Thai woman in the UK, they don't get our state pension widow's benefit either. That's completely stopped. So there's two guys that I know died 1 or 2 years or so ago now, and their wives thought, because their husbands, they were both British, said, oh, you know, I'll be getting a widow's pension from the government in England. And when they applied for it, they just turned around and says, no, you're not entitled to it. Now, these two guys thought by marrying the Thai girls, at least they were going to get the state or the widow's pension from the state pension. They didn't know, because they also didn't think, but before 2016, they would have got it or something like that. But after 2016, you ain't going to get it. But there's their two wives now, sort of scraping around, having to work again because they get nothing from the UK government. And their husband, sadly, didn't leave them anything else, no insurance, things like that, because they were under the impression that the state pension would provide for their wives once they curled their toes up. But in reality, they got nothing. So this is the type of things that you need to look into if you're going to retire in Thailand. Came originally to check out much of Southeast Asia. After a few weeks in Thailand, I never left. It checks every box, and the people are amazing. It does. I've been here 12 years, and I sing Thailand's praises, and I always will do, because it's, for me, it's a beautiful place. It has its problems. It's not perfect, and it's not for everybody. But for me, there's nowhere else in the world I'd like to live. And I traveled the world for 2 years. So I've traveled and I've been to many, many, many countries. And I've got to say, Thailand knocks the spots off most places. If I stopped at any time, the police. Photocopy. Mr. Who, hey up, Les. How's it going? How long until you get state pension? 2.5 years. I get mine at 66 and 3 months. So another 2.5 years and I'll get my pension. And for me, because we opted out of my works, I don't get the full pension. I think it's about, at the minute, £170 a week, or from April, when it goes up, £170 a week as opposed to £221 a week. But I can manage on that. I'm going to get taxed on that anyway, because I add that to my fire brigade pension, and I'm way over the £12,570, and they'll start taxing me anyway. So swings and roundabouts. It's better than nothing at all, isn't it? Okay. I thought they stopped the widow's pensions a long time ago. Yeah, 2016. The only thing they're entitled to now is 3,000. In as far as I'm aware, as far as I've read, they're entitled to nothing. They get absolutely nothing. I was in the fire service, but I don't think I was opted out. It depends when you left the fire brigade as well, because there was an opt-out agreement, and I forget what it was. It's just like one of them things. I was a young firefighter. Somebody said, "Oh, you need to opt out. You need to sign this." So sign the form. Yeah, okay. And at that time, I was a young guy. Retirement was miles away, so it was extra money. So you didn't have to pay as much, something like that. Everybody said, "Yeah, no problem." Our union guys, our officials, everybody said, "Sign it." So we signed it. and that was it. Whether it was good, bad, or not, I don't particularly know, but you know, I'm grateful for it when it comes. But at the time, I was maybe 20, 22, 23, something like that. Retirement age at 65 was a lifetime away. Who knows if I'd have got to 65-year-old. But here I am, 63, coming up to 64. And now I'm looking into it and I'm thinking I'm only 2.5 years away from that now. So, but I'm in no rush to get to 66 in 3 months. Okay, right. We've been at it now for 55 minutes, an hour, and I've only covered one topic of all the things that I want to cover. Okay, so we'll go on to a couple of things now. Treatment. A lot of people are scared about going to the hospital and things like that with regard to treatment at the Bangkok hospitals, the most expensive hospitals. Now I'm going to sort of give you a bit of an example on this and sort of not be scared of going to the Bangkok hospital. And I'm going to give her an example. It's quite a funny example, but I had a lump on there and a lump on my arm and a lump on my back. And my mother had skin cancer. So this one on here was about the size of half a raisin. So I was a little bit concerned about it. And the fact that my mother had skin cancer, I thought, I'm going to have to go and get this checked out. And because Thais don't really get skin cancer, trying to find a skin cancer specialist in Thailand, they're very few and far between because, they just don't get the experience with skin cancer. So I had to go to the Bangkok hospital because they have the best doctors and they have they are the people to go and see. So I knew I was going to pay to go to the Bangkok hospital. But long story short, I went there, he had a look at it and he says, I'm 90% sure that it isn't skin cancer. So, well, I want you to be 100% sure. And he said, the only way I can be 100% sure is take a skin graft off and send it away for analysis, and then we'll get the results in a week. Then I can guarantee 100% it isn't or it is. Do that. So anyway, long story short, I was in to see the doctor. He took 3 skin from my arm and from my back, and he put them all in little files and sent them away to get checked. And a week later, I got the results back, and it was clear. And he said, 100% not skin cancer. So he said, don't worry about it. So that was 8,800 baht to go and see a specialist in the Bangkok hospital for the treatment, for the medication, and for the biopsies. 8,800 baht. No, sorry, 8,000 baht. I'm getting mixed up here. 8,000 baht in total. Last week, I had my car serviced by Nissan garage. And it was a 60,000 kilometer service. That was 8,800 baht. It was actually more expensive to go and get my car serviced than it was to go and see the doctor and go and get a skin biopsy at the Bangkok hospital than it was to get my car serviced. And which am I more happy about? The skin cancer, for sure, because I knew 100% it wasn't skin cancer. But 8,800 to go and get my car serviced. I was longer in the garage than I was in the hospital. 5 hours in the garage to get my car serviced. That's another story. I'll never go back to Nissan just padding the bill out as they do, because I couldn't speak Thai and they just padded it out. And I only found out when I actually got the main bill what they'd done. And I was so angry because I give them a note from my wife to say, any extras, give my wife a call. She would translate and tell me. They never told me. They just said, oh, kaput. And I said, yeah, okay, change it. Robbing. I paid 2,000 baht more than what I should have done, but there's another story. But anyway, yeah, so don't be afraid to go and get a checkup from the Bangkok hospital. 8,000 baht, cheaper than getting your car serviced at a Nissan garage. Okay, what else are we going to do? So, insurance. people keep asking me about insurance. Now, my insurance is up for renewal again in June. June the 1st is when I pay. And then I'm going to be 64. So the premium that I'm paying at the minute, and I'll hold this piece of paper up so you can have a quick look at it. For 61 to 65-year-olds is 24,885. Now, if you have a quick look at that. So as I say, from 18 to 60, 20,500. 61 to 65, 24,885. 66 to 70, 30,022. 71 to 75, 40,297. And for 76 to 80-year-olds, 50,572. Now, that's for expat A with no outpatients department. Now, expat A, the cheapest one, the A, that is up to 700,000 bahts worth of cover. It's not a lot, but for me, it's a stick and plaster. And like this year, I'm going to be paying almost 25,000 baht. I can definitely find 25,000 baht, but I couldn't find 700,000 baht if I needed to, to pay that amount of money. So as long as you're under 65, you don't have to have a medical for doing it, for getting your insurance. But if you have a look at there, it says, where does it say there? Oh yeah, members between 65 and 75 can apply as long as you have a medical. Now, in my description of this video is actually I had an interview with a Pacific Cross rep, and he answered many questions that people had with regard to insurance. So if I get 30 odd people joining the Pacific Cross scheme, and Loic is his name, he can answer any questions that you want, and his team can speak any language, German, French, Italian, Spanish, whatever, and they can answer all the questions that you want. Sort of, so he is the horse's mouth. You can ask him any question that you want, pre-existing conditions and things like that. He will give you the answer that you want. And if my group, because there's a few people join now with Retired and Living the Dream, and in my description there's the email address that you can write to him, and he will give you how much it's going to cost you, renewal and things like that. And once we get to 30 people who've joined that, then it becomes that there will be a group discount available for that. So give it a look. If you don't want to take it, no skin off my nose. But if it helps you solve your problem, you can ask the horse's mouth. And Pacific Cross, I've been with them for 10 years. And, okay, touch wood, I've never had to claim on it. But, talking to him, I'm very assured that if anything does go wrong, then at least I'm covered for it. So give him a ring, give him a call, and ask. And his address is in this description underneath this video. So yeah, that's that. Insurance is very important to you when you get older. So again, but if you can't afford the insurance, there's other ways and means of doing it. It's like if you're living here on a retirement visa. If you've got the 800,000 baht in the bank for your retirement visa, then use that as a self-insurance, which is a way of doing it. So then you have the 800,000 to take care of any medical emergencies. And if you fall below the 400,000 that you're supposed to have, then just use an agent for the following year. Swings and roundabouts about everything living here. So that's a way of getting around the insurance. But I would say that you need insurance for sure. Even if you just have accident insurance, you're more likely to have an accident here than like a heart attack or a stroke or something like that. And having at least some accident insurance, and I think there's the Bangkok Bank has an accident insurance up to 5,000 baht if you're opening an account with them. So there's ways and means of doing that as well. So look into every option when you're coming here to live in Thailand. 88 people in the chat, Les. Less than half give a thumbs up. How many thumbs up? Oh, we got 36 thumbs. Oh, 91 in the house now. So yeah, if you like the content up to now, give it a thumbs up. It all helps the algorithm of the YouTube. Thank you, Mr. Who. Buy Toyota and get a good local mechanic. Last time I 10,000 for a service. All the brakes done, discs and drums, skimmed and new pads and shoes. Yeah. I mean, it's still cheaper to get your car serviced in a Nissan garage here than it would be in the UK. So, but sitting in a garage for 5 hours, because the Nissan garage, it was about 2 kilometers away from the nearest central festival and about 500 meters away from the index. And it was a very, very busy road. There's no walkways. So basically, I was stuck there for 5 hours. I even went to Index, have a look around Index just to fill an hour away. 5 hours. And you could actually sit and watch them service your car. It was just like watching paint dry. They were so slow. The whole service could have been done in a couple of hours in my mind. But they were just slow. And 20 minutes before they went for lunch, I would look at 20 minutes. Come on, you get them wheels back on now because you've done everything to the wheels. And he just kept looking and he went for a cigarette and he come back. And so he just wasted 20 minutes and they went for lunch and didn't put the wheels back on. And after lunch, within 5 minutes, the wheels were back on. So anyway, I phoned the International Pensions. They said if admitting in advance, only going for 185 days, then is only for that period. Seems to be to tell them life has changed when moving back and it's not planned. Yeah. There's something like, sometimes being honest, too honest can bite you in the bum. I suppose if you tell them you're just going to move back 100, exactly what you've just said there. Life changes, is exchanged, is changed. I mean, even if you move back to England, you get it. Somebody said, I've told them I'm going to move back to England. Well, then you same, moving back to England, you get it from day one. So why, if they're going to say, well, if you tell us in advance you're only going to do it, we're not going to pay you, why have the 185-day rule? Why not just turn around and say you get it whilst you're in a reciprocal country, and then once you leave the reciprocal country, you don't get it anymore? They don't say that. That's why they have a 185-day rule. But I don't think they want to tell people that, because otherwise, like I'm doing, I'm telling you, you're telling somebody else, they'll tell somebody else, and word gets out is that now there's all of these people who are sort of being able now to get their rise, and the government's going to have to pay money. In the whole scheme of things, it's such a small amount of money, but it's like everything else with the people who are claiming benefits in the UK. Because my friend used to be a benefits worker, and she says it's not up to us to tell them what benefit they can claim. It's up to them to tell us what they're claiming for. So that's why there's thousands of people in the UK not claiming benefits for what they can claim for, because they haven't asked for them. And it's not up to them to tell them that, oh, you can claim for this, you can claim for that, you can claim for the other. And this is, for me, it's the same analogy, the fact that they will not tell you if you claim 108, because it's not written down anywhere. It is not written in black and white. And it was only when I spoke to somebody in the office, said, and I had to ask them and phrase the question. So if I live there for 100, yes, you can. But they never said do it for 183 days and you ain't going to get it. So yeah, you've got to be a little bit of economical with the truth. But then, it's up to you where you want to live in the world. And if there's a law there, 185 days, how can they turn around and say, well, it either is or it isn't. It's black and white or it isn't. And as one gentleman said earlier on, get it in writing. Whether they actually give you it in writing or not, that's another thing, isn't it? I don't know. But again, I'm not at that position yet. But I know there are many other people. And I also know many other people who are living in Thailand, get their rise every year because they're saying they're living in the UK. One guy that knows 15 years. 15 years? No, sorry. 8 years. He's been claiming his pension for 8 years, and he still gets his winter fuel allowance living over here as well. So, but if they find out, they can take all of that money back, and you can get done for fraud, and we've discussed that anyway. So yeah, it's up to you whether you want to tell them or not. But if the system's there, the system is there. How can they be like, oh well, yeah, if you're telling us you're living for 185, but you're going to move out? No, we're not going to give you it. How can they turn around and say that? Why have a rule? I mean, the rule is very, very clear. If you live in Thailand, you do not get it. But if you live in the Philippines, you get it. So the rules are there. It's up to you whether you want to live in the Philippines for 6 months of the year or not, or whether you want to live in Jamaica or Mauritius or Turkey or the South Korea. Up to you. But if you live in them countries, I mean, there's a guy 200 yards, I think he's on the border of America and Canada, 200 yards away from the American border. And in Canada, he doesn't get his rise. But if he went over the border 200 yards, he'd get the rise. I'd go and live in America for six months of the year, then get all of them rises. But anyway. So yeah, give the pension people a call and find out for yourself. And for all those people that do, please let me know. Please tell me that it's successful or it isn't. Again, because this one guy said to me, he rang up and they said everything that I said was wrong. And, you know, I sort of argued against it. I'm going to be wrong because I've asked the people. And he says that they give me the wrong information, which then I pass on to everybody else. But like I said, 29th of February, that's the day that I rang the pension department up and they give me the same answers. Right. What documents do you need for 90-day reporting? A TM47, just proof of the address that you're living at. It's easy to do it online. Again, now you actually, once you're doing it online, you get a reminder of the immigration department. I got my reminder this morning because you can apply for it 15 days online before it's due and 7 days afterwards. So I got an email this morning from the immigration department saying my online reporting is due on the 18th. So they actually sent me a reminder also, which is good because other people who just go to the office and do it, they don't get any reminders. And if you're late, then you're going to pay a fee. And if you miss it, then you're in a whole heap of trouble. So some people forget it, but with the online one, they send me an email to say you are due to do your 90 days online. And it's a 5-minute job. And what I'm doing now, I'm taking screenshots of everything that I've got done. I'm going to do a video next week about that because now I can actually use my own case as a reference, and I'll show you all the paperwork that's needed. And it's your passport details and your TM47 to say where you're living, and that's it. It is simple. But there are people have asked for a video, so I'm going to do a video on it. But in reality, it's simplicity itself. It's not very difficult to do at all. So anyway, I'm going to go on to something else. Let's go on to another topic. Insurance was done, skin cancer care service done, widow's payment done, retirement done. Okay. One of the biggest fears that people have over here, especially if you're a single guy, is losing everything. And there are people on here, and there are plenty of videos of people who've lost everything coming over here to Thailand because they haven't taken precautions. And I think naively, they think everything's milk and honey and rosy, and they have the rose-colored spectacles on, and everything's, you know, the girl that I'm with is, I love her a bit. She's fantastic. Blah blah blah. Buyer beware when you come here to Thailand for absolutely everything. You know, if you're a couple coming here and buying a house or buying a condo, also take care. Consult a lawyer. And if anybody wants a lawyer's number, and this particular lawyer saved a friend of mine a lot of heartache, a lot of trouble, because she got told not to buy the condo that she was going to buy. And by doing that, the lawyer gave her some good advice, saved her a big headache. So as much as I detest lawyers, and I'm going to do another video about that as to why I hate lawyers, not the lawyers here in Thailand, but the lawyers in England, but that's a whole different story. Use a lawyer for everything over here, buying properties, selling properties, you know, if you're buying off plan and stuff like that. Take precautions, take more precautions over here, because you're in a different country than your home country. So that's what you need to do. Get yourself into a position where you don't need to rely on state pension. Well, sadly, there are people, and I know people who live in here just on the state pension. And let's face it, when you get to 65 or 66 and you claim the state pension, you're long past earning that money, and you can live a good lifestyle here, still on the sweet spot for me. For those people that I've been talking to, and I've showed them the way of how they can do it, and I'm showing other people the same way of living here on £1,000 a month, and it is possible to do that as well and live a better life here on £1,000 a month than it is to do in the UK. Now we're approaching, you know, £900 a month almost. So you're almost on the £1,000 a month with your state pension. So you can live here a good lifestyle on £1,000 a month, a better lifestyle than you could in the UK on that amount of money. But the thing is with the UK, you know, if you're on such a low amount of money, other benefits kick in, where them benefits don't kick in here. But yeah, I think if you had most people, if they had the choice and they've seen the way of what they can live on without any other benefits or anything from the UK, that all they've got is the state pension, it is totally and utterly possible. But I agree with you. This is where retirement planning comes in. Don't think, oh, I'm a long way from retirement, because it creeps up very quickly. And here I am now, 60, almost 64, and I'm almost at my retirement, proper retirement, with my state pension. I wouldn't like to think I was having to rely on my state pension. But yes, you can still live a good lifestyle here on your state pension. And it's not so easy just to, you know, get yourself into a position where you don't need to rely. If you're in your 60s, 66, or you've gone through a really bad divorce or a business crash or something like that, something traumatic in your life, once you get over 50, 55, it's a very hard hill to climb to get back into that position. So sometimes you've got to play with what you've got, and I deal with the people who play with what they've got. And if you haven't got a lot of money, there are ways and means of still living here in Thailand and having a good lifestyle. And that's where I pride myself on, is the fact I don't give any BS. I tell them how it is, and I show them what lifestyle they can get on that little amount of money. And I've never had I've had one person who disagreed with me. And if I've got time, I'll tell you that story. But it was a 72-year-old man. Okay, right. I've sat down long enough drinking coffee and watching the live stream. Got to get back to working on the allotment. Oh, back to the allotment again. Okay, good for the allotment. Get well wrapped up, because apparently it's quite cold down the allotment now. Thanks very much for watching again, and have a nice day down the allotment. Thanks for joining me. My girlfriend rents a 2-bedroom townhouse near Ayutthaya for 3,700 baht a month. I don't see why I would buy. Yeah, again, rental is good. And rental, you can move. Rental, you can move, but the swings and roundabouts for buying as opposed to renting also. which I've gone on to many of the videos. I mean, I'm buying this house, and you know, and it actually isn't much more to buy the house than it is to rent the house. So I looked upon it as financially prudent to be able to do that, and I'm in a position where I can do that. And all the things came into play, and I was lucky to be able to find the rent to buy system that I've got to be able to buy this house. It's not easy to do it, but it is possible to be able to buy a house here in Thailand as well. Is it possible, but not to? It's possible, but not a nice living. Well, okay then. I'm only on £1,300 a month, so I'm only £300 a month more than what I'm telling people to live on, and I'm buying this house, so I could actually live on £1,000 a month here, on the same lifestyle that I've got. So am I roughing it here for those people who watch the video? I drive a nice car. I've just bought a new motorbike. I live in a nice area. We go to the beach. We go on holidays, and that's £1,300 a month. So is it actually much more to? I think I live a decent life, and when I show the people what £1,000 a month they can live on, they can live in a. You can live in a 2-bedroom bungalow here on a resort with a communal pool for 10,000 baht a month. Beautiful. If you buy your own motorbike, that saves you a lot of money as well. But my motorbike that I sold with 11,500 kilometers, I sold that for 25,000 baht. So for 25,000 baht, you can buy yourself a motorbike, and it's 100 baht to fill your motorbike. You can just travel around Thailand just on a scooter here, on a motorbike. So that's if you buy the motorbike, so that your transportation costs an extra 600 baht a year to tax and insure your motorbike. So now let's say 11,000 baht a month. So £1,000 a month is 45,000 baht at the minute. So you still got another 29,000 baht a month to play around with for food, traveling, eating, and entertainment. More than easily do it. What could you get in the UK? Could you get a 2-bedroom bungalow, detached bungalow, with a communal swimming pool for 10,000, 220, 230 pound a month? I think not. No council tax to pay, no water charges to pay, electricity. I mean, my electricity bill here is less than £10 a month. My electricity bill. Need I go on any further? £1,000 a month living here, you can live a lot better life than you can do in the UK. But that's me blowing my own trumpet, because I show people how they can do it, and everybody is amazed at what you get for not a lot of money living here. I do it on basically a monthly basis. In fact, I've got somebody that I'm meeting in the next couple of weeks that we're going to do that. They're coming over here to actually look to see whether it's true what I'm saying, and it is true what I'm saying, and I can show these people how they can live on this amount of money. And it's not. I'm not sugarcoating anything. I tell everybody this is what it is. This is what you can do. £1,000 a month. You need a hooky visa? No, you don't. Absolutely, 100% you don't. And this is what I do. I show people how you can get. You don't even need to use an agent to get your visa. You can get your visa, a genuine, proper visa, with no agent, on £1,000 a month, 100% legal. Because I think outside the box, and it's 100% legal what you can do. So you don't need to use an agent. You don't need a hooky visa at all. Hi Les, hi Scott from New Zealand. Good afternoon. Thanks very much for tuning in. living in Thailand for 1,000 is a lot easier than living in the UK. Yeah, I wouldn't like to think. I couldn't afford to live in the UK on £1,000. Les, I retired to Thailand last year. The same year I got my first state pension, I went back to the UK to claim it. The letter came to my sister's address. I just found out I will get the increase. Yeah, again, if you say you registered at your sister's house, then you registered at your sister's house. But like, that's what I'm saying. If they find out, and it is a big if, that there are many things that, you know, when all said and done, even 500,000 pensioners who don't get the increase is only a very, very small amount. And as far as financial wise, I mean, they're spending £31 million in the budget. They've just miraculously got £31 million to protect the MPs because they've been told and sworn at and, you know, not treated very well. So they've got 31. So the government can find the money for some things, but with the other things they don't. It's probably going to cost them more money to weed out and find out those people who are actually not telling the truth and they're actually living somewhere else and they shouldn't be claiming whatever. But it's always in the back of my mind. And I used to do community service, take people out in community service many years ago. And I remember saying to one guy that the reason why I don't commit crime is because then I can sleep at night. I know there isn't going to be a knock at the door or a telephone call or a letter to say bing, bing, bing. So I can sleep at night because I've got no worries about it. Somebody said to me also years ago, I'm too honest to be a businessman because I'm honest. And I am honest. I don't tell lies. I tell everybody how it is. So I'm as honest as the day is long. And I will be honest when I tell the pensions department I'm living in Thailand. Because I know there's a way and means of doing it, of getting that extra money if you want to. And I'll be in a position where I could go and live in the Philippines for 6 months if I want to. Because for me, I just regard it as a holiday. It might take 2 years to pay for that holiday before I get the money back. But are we likely to get a 24% rise in the next 4 years? I think not. It's going to go back down to 2.5% to 3%. So it's going to take a long time to build up to that 24% again. It's an anomaly that it's just happened now and people can take advantage of it. And this is what I'm saying. It's not financially viable to do it every year because at only 2 or 3%, it's not worth doing it. But at 24%, it is worth doing it. Nice to see that you've settled in and well have adjusted to Thai life. Well done. Thanks very much. I have settled in there very quickly, very easily. But again, I was like some of them people in England we do this, and in America we do that, and we do it this way in England. And my wife or my girlfriend at the time then said, Les, you don't live in England anymore. You live in Thailand. You've got to accept their way, our ways now. And as soon as she said that, I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You don't say in England we do this, and in America we do it, Australia we do this. This is how we do it in Thailand. Now, there's some good things and some bad things. And I remember having a bit of a discussion with this guy who says Thailand is corrupt. Thailand is too corrupt for me. I wouldn't like to live here. And I said, okay, you're corrupt. I said, you got caught on your motorbike the other day with no insurance and no tax and no helmet. And he only paid 600 baht fine. I said, now, if you got caught in England for doing that, your motorbike would be taken off you, you'd get penalty points, and then you'd have to prove that you're on insurance. Then you'd have to pay storage fees for the motorbike. I said, you paid 600 baht, about 12 or 13 pounds. Is that corrupt or is it not? So that's what I'm saying. You take the rough with the smooth living here with Thailand. It's not perfect. It's not for everybody. I can cope with it. I like the swings and the roundabouts. I can cope with it. That's for sure. Hi, Les. I'm moving my family to Thailand next month. Can you recommend some good property agents in the Rayong area? I live in the Rayong area, not Rayong. Rayong is further down south towards Hua Hin, and I live in the Rayong area, which is sort of the east side of Pattaya. Rayong is on the sort of southwest area of Bangkok. No, I'm sorry, I don't know any housing agents, but if you have a look on, it's a Thai paper called Bought and Sold, and then you can look for rental properties and look for vehicles for sale. Bought and Sold. It's a fantastic newspaper. It gives you all sorts of information for properties and condos and things like that. So Bought and Sold. And you get direct numbers as well for the people that you want to rent from, and so therefore you don't have to pay any agents commissions. And then you got a little bit more negotiable rental agreements, because if you book it through an agent, they stick their fee on top of it as well, whereas if you go direct, you can negotiate over the fee. That's my little bit of advice. Greetings from Asgard. Hello. Scott Green, good point, Les. Thank you. Yes, your area. Yeah, Rayong. There really isn't any house agents as such. Our landlady's got 10 houses, so every time I show people around the houses, it's usually our landlady or other people that we know. Now, what we do here is we offer a service for 2,500 baht for the day. We will drive you around the area of Rayong, which is the nicest places to live, and we show the areas and what's available. And basically, on top of the houses that we can show you, that our landlady has, or the other people that we know, and we have several people who ask us to put their property on the YouTube, and we do. And 9 times out of 10, it gets filled by the people who watch the YouTube. But for 2,500 baht, we will drive you around the area for a full day, 9 o'clock until 5, and we'll show you the different locations. And then if we see anything that catches your eye, whether it be a condo or a house or an apartment or wherever, my wife will ask to see what the rental cost is and how you can go about it and what's required. So you'll get the details, because we drive you around the nice area. So it's Rayong is quite a big province, really. So there's a lot of ground covered in that day. And anything that catches your eye, we drive around the areas, and that's the service that we offer. And that's 2,500 baht for the day. And we stop for lunch as well at a beautiful beachside location. So you get a drive around the area, so you know what's available and where you can go, what you can do. And also any properties that's for rent, my wife will ask for the rental properties and things like that. That is much easier than because our landlady's got 10 houses. One week it might be available, then the following week it isn't. And what we do for the people who come and to have a look at it, we'll get them to confirm, because we've also had some time wasters. I'll be there on Tuesday, and they never turn up. So we get them to ring us up the day before and, confirm this is when they're going to come on that day. Then we will ring the landlady, and we will ring the other people that we know if their house is up for rent. So we find out. Because before we offered this service, people said, "Oh, we'll be there on Tuesday. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't make it. I'll be there Thursday. I might be there Friday." So do away with that. So by charging 2,500 baht, then we know they're going to come. And then we know we're not wasting our time stopping in or waiting for people. So that's the service that we offer for those people who want to do it. And going on from that, I also offer a one-to-one chat as well. And that's $10 for whether it's an hour or whether it's 2 hours. And you only actually pay the $10 for the, want a face-to-face chat if you get the information that you want. So if you don't get the information you want, you don't pay the $10 either. So that's a WhatsApp face-to-face chat, and again that's $10, and you only pay after the chat as well. So it's sort of a win-win situation. If you get the information, fantastic, but if you don't get the information you want, then you don't have to pay, no problem. But then with the two services that we offer, and there are many people that have took me up on their offer, and I've got to say I've never had a question that I've never been able to answer. But if I can't answer it, I'll direct you towards the people who can. I've got contacts for agents, I've got contacts for lawyers, I've got contacts for the health insurance, I've got contacts for properties. I've lived here for 12 years, so I know a little bit about living here. So yeah, that's the services that we offer. Pension, I checked, and 2 years missing because I retired 2 years early and worked overseas. Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, I had the 35 years that I needed before I retired anyway, so I'm okay with that. Paul, like, on balance, it's better here in Thailand. Thanks, Paul. I agree with you. But then I'm biased as well because I live here in Thailand anyway. I was just driving through Rayong and stayed a couple of nights in Rayong. Went to the Barcelona Valley, but the restaurant is just further down the road. One of the best Sunday roasts I've had ever. All right, that's good. Very good. So, I mean, there are a few places that do Sunday expat food over here. You can get anything and everything here if you know where to go. Love the fruit in Thailand, very cheap. New Zealand, expensive fruit. Yeah, again, we've got fruit trees here. If you're going to plant a tree that you can have fruit from. We've just got some bananas from our very first banana tree that we planted. We've got some more bananas. We've got 3 different types of banana trees. Well, we've got guava, we've got lime. We've got many things that we can eat over here. We've got some type of berries, basil, other leaves that my wife puts in the cooking type of thing. So yeah, it's beautiful over here. Unless it's a good idea for us to rent Airbnb for a month in Rayong prior to finding a long-term retirement. Yeah, I would go for that as well. I know a lovely place in Banpei, and it's a studio apartment, 10,000 baht, because now we're in high season, 10,000 baht a month, and it's right next door to the market, to the twice a week market, where you can get food for, Penang curry or green curry or Massaman curry for 40 or 50 baht. It's beautiful. Walking distance to the ferry, walking distance to around the town. Some nice restaurants close by. It's 8,000 in low season, 10,000 in high season. But I suppose if you stay there for a couple of months or so, you might be able to get it for 8,000. But if you look on 10,000 in a good location, also near us where we live, a 2-bedroom detached bungalow with a communal pool, beautiful location, and that's 10,000 baht a month as well, plus electric also. So yeah, I would say just come here, booking into a hotel for a couple of nights, and then look around the area without booking anything on the internet, because the internet can make it look nice, but if you've already signed the agreement for the price of a hotel for 2 or 3 nights, it's much preferable, I would say, to do that, and then you can go and look at it, see whether the description matches the location. Yep. So rent a hotel, then go and look in. Here you go. Oh my God, managed to get here live. I'm in Dubai at the moment. Wow, not Australia. So wise is easier. Hi, mate. I hope you are well. Yes, I'm very, very well. Thank you very much. How do I arrange the $10 chat with you? Okay, you just send me an email. I'll put my email address on there. 58 at yahoo.com. So send me an email, and when you send me an email, I'll send you my telephone number, and then we can do a WhatsApp face-to-face chat. We can sort of fit it in, and then what I do, then if you're happy with the chat, but only if you're happy with the chat, there's no, you don't have to. There's some other guys I know that you have to. I won't mention his name. £45 for a 30-minute chat, and you have to pay up front. And if you don't get the information that you want or whatever, then you don't get your £45 back. I say $10, which is that's less than it's about £8. And if you don't get the information you want, then you don't have to pay. And you have the conversation before you're even asked to pay. But what I do then is send you a buy me a coffee link, and just send me $10. Whether the conversation's for an hour or 2 hours, it's still the same price. It's up to you. But it's like $10. So send me an email. Then I'll send you my number, and then we can deal with it from there. But I guarantee the information that you can get from me in an hour-long chat or 2-hour-long chat is invaluable. I'll save you thousands and thousands of baht anyway by doing that. Again, I'm blowing my own trumpet, So we can go from there. Oh, while I'm on it, I've got some more mugs printed now as well. So Retired and Living the Dream. Sadly, I can only send them to Thailand, but they're 300 baht each plus 45 baht for postage. I can send them anywhere in Thailand. And I've even had some Australian ones made. Australian. 300 baht plus 45 baht postage and package to Thailand. So I can send you one of them if you so desire, and they're 300 baht. Just send me an email and we can arrange it from there. So yeah, there's loads of them people have asked for, because it's Retired and Living the Dream on both sides. And I am retired and living the dream, and I love living here. And I'm glad I'm talking to many people. We've still got 87 people in the house now. So these live streams, we just go off on a tangent, and I still haven't answered or gone through a lot of these questions. And as long as there's people here asking questions, I'll answer as long as the questions keep coming up. And hopefully everybody finds it useful and and interesting and informative. And I would say many people do. Funny, my son and girlfriend came earlier in the month and didn't have to fill the visa exemption form TM60, maybe because they had a stopover in Hong Kong. Now, if they arrived in the country, you get 30 days visa exempt, so there's nothing to fill out. And it's a TM30 is the form to fill out to say where you're living. So, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know whether it's a good idea to be admitting online that you are working without a permit. Am I working? I'm just giving advice. And somebody, it's just the same. Buy me a coffee, buy me a beer if we're having a chat in the bar. Is that working? Now, I'm work legal. Well, I don't work. Sorry. It's not work, is it? It's sharing of information. And Benjamin Hart, I think they call it, from Integrity Legal, he did a video once about YouTubers, working and having to have a work permit to work in there. And I actually contacted him, and I said, okay, I'll bite. What do I need to do to get a work permit? And he was going to charge me 5,850 baht to even just discuss the situation. Well, you can imagine what I was going to do with that 5,850 just to talk to him about it. And that would go towards anything that I needed to do to become legal to be able to do it. Anyway, long story short, I contacted another legal guy because we were doing a bit of business with a friend of mine who was buying a condo. So whilst I was there, I asked him the question, what do I need to do to become legal here in Thailand? Oh, he said, well, that's a bit of a grey area. I said, I don't want a grey area. I said, I want a 100% answer. I said, well, okay, the 100% answer is, he says, you've got to employ 4 Thai people, have 2 million baht in the bank, pay the taxes and insurance for the 4 people that you actually are not working for you, but they're just on paper. I said, isn't that technically illegal, saying that these Thai people are working? Oh, he said, a bit of a grey area. I said, how much is this grey area going to cost me? He said, well, a start off of 85,000 baht, and it might go up to 150. Then you have to pay the taxes and insurance. I said, to do all that lot in another grey area then? So in reality, I'll carry on in the grey area that I'm in at the minute, because technically I'm not working. I'm a provider of information. I'm not charging anything. The fact that you can buy me a cup of coffee if you so wish, but I'm not telling you, I'm not charging you $10 for buy me a cup of coffee. It is up to you, as it is up to you if you buy me a beer in the bar. Do I have to tell the immigration department, oh, he bought me a beer in the bar because I give him some information? It's a grey area, and Thailand is full of grey areas. So I said to the lawyer guy, I said, I'll stay in the grey area. That's not costing me anything. Because at the end of the day, I make $100 a month on YouTube doing this. Take off the subscriptions and the one thing and another and the equipment that needs repairing and replacing or fixing or whatever, I probably make $40 or $50. And if immigration want to tax me on $40 or $50, then I'll gladly pay the tax on $40 or $50. But I'm already getting taxed off YouTube off it as well. So am I in for double taxing because it's an American-based company that I'm doing this from? So see what I mean? Grey area. Yeah, it is what it is. And as I said, there are other people also, much bigger YouTubers than me, are £45 for a 30-minute talk. There's one subscriber charges £500 to have a chat with him for an hour. And I know the guy, £500 for an hour to chat with him. £1,000 if you want to spend the day with him. Is that working, or is that another grey area? There are no TM60. What wasn't that the thing that if I'm correct, TM60 is the card that you used to get on the airplane. Well, TM60s don't exist anymore. So yeah, that just sort of clicked the reminder. Yeah, TM60s. Yeah. We are currently renting a small one-bedroom house in Cranun for $4,500. It's just cheap. It's cheap to live here if you want. The more remote you get, the cheaper it gets. Ginger Ali, thanks, Les. You're welcome. Haha, I love the Aussie mugs. Yeah, the Aussie mugs. I've only got one. Oh, I've only got one, yeah. Printing error. Because there's the normal ones. But still the same, retired and living the dream. Australian version, UK version. When I got it out the box, I'm thinking, oh, what's happened here? So I called it my Australian mug. Okay, let's have a look. Hi, do we need a work permit to do YouTube? Again, if you just listen to the conversation that I had, technically, yes. But it's a grey area. And, to do it properly, YouTube channel, I'd have to set up a company and employ 4 Thai people. Now, what are the 4 Thai people going to do? Apart from me paying their taxes. And in reality, if they're not working for me, isn't that illegal as well? Isn't that another grey area? Because they're on paper saying that working for me, but they're actually not working for me because I'm not giving them any employment. So it's another grey area. So technically, yes. You're supposed to have a work permit doing YouTube channels. But also, what does Thailand get as far as value? Am I slagging Thailand off? No, I'm not. I'm an ambassador for Thailand. I'm getting people to come move over here in Thailand. I'm getting people to spend money here in Thailand. I'm sending them to various departments in Thailand. So in reality, Thailand is getting free publicity from me. So isn't that worth turning a blind eye? If they turn a blind eye, if you don't have any insurance or tax or your helmet on, it's just another blind eye. Thailand is full of grey areas, and some are good and some are not so good. So I'll work in the grey area until somebody tells me I have to pay. And if somebody tells me I have to pay tax, then I'll pay tax on my income from YouTube. But until immigration knock at the door, I'm given a free. I don't charge Patreons. I don't charge private members group as many other YouTubers do. Everything that I give, the content is free. And if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, that's up to you. I don't even ask you to buy me a cup of coffee. So is that working? Because I'm not actually getting financially rewarded from it. Another grey area. Yeah, they were temporarily suspended at airports last year, but still mandatory at land borders. That's back to normal. I didn't know that, but I know on the plane you used to fill it out. Was it everybody didn't have a pen, so it was always crazy. Do you apply mosquito spray to your arms every evening? Any tips uh, instead of mosquito cream, or is it necessary of an evening? Okay, here's a funny reply to this one. I don't get bothered by mosquitoes, and I know mosquitoes bite me because I get the little pimples, and occasionally it's a little bit itchy. So I know the mosquitoes bite me, but I think, and there's been a lot of scientific research on this. Some people give an odor that the mosquitoes love, and some people give an odor that the mosquitoes don't like. I must be in the group of people that the mosquitoes don't like my odor. And it may be that we have healthy mosquitoes here because I'm a little bit chunky, I'm a little bit fat. So the mosquitoes have to suck through the fat before they get to the blood. So maybe the healthy eating mosquitoes don't want to suck through the fat to get to the blood, so they leave me alone. No, but seriously, I don't get bothered much by the mosquitoes. I never put creams on or sprays, nothing at all. And I don't really get bit. My wife gets bitten more by the mosquitoes than me. But when we were in Koh Chang, we were there for a week. We had to actually leave early because my wife was full of mosquito, all the little nasty inflamed bites all over her legs. So we actually had to leave a part of Koh Chang that we were at because it was just, it must have been, millions of mosquitoes out there because she really suffered. So we came home early. But no, she gets bit more times than me. So DEET, anything that contains DEET with regard to the mosquito bites, and apparently some creams and lotions and potions are more effective in certain parts of Thailand than others. So basically just go in the local chemists or pharmacies and ask them for the sprays, and they will stock the sprays that's good for that area. So that's all I can say on mosquitoes. I see grey area. Grey areas are everywhere here in Thailand. A mate of mine lives in Thailand. Now he has a business in Australia and a satellite company in Bangkok. This he has to do. He had to employ one Thai person and have an office, which he doesn't need. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why people try to open businesses here because it's very difficult. It's very labor intensive with documentations and especially if you're a foreigner as well. Good luck to him. Good luck to him. Good luck to anybody who has a business here in Thailand. Les, it depends on the immigration officer you deal with. If you work in Thailand, you need a work visa. The tax is different department altogether. Of course it is, Yeah, immigration officer, immigration officers, they work by the brown envelopes as well. And sometimes a brown envelope can get you out of all sorts of difficulties over here. Brown envelopes, you can buy them everywhere. Not talking about the YouTube, thinking about 2,500 to run someone around the day and the online chat fees. Okay, running somebody around. Would you pay a taxi to run you around? Yes, you would. I'm using this as an example because it's my time as well. And if you want to pay a payment, 2,500. This is what I'm saying. It's up front. Is it working or is it not? Everybody's time. That's the only thing. One thing in life that you can't buy back is time. Everything else you can buy, but time you cannot. And the online chat, like I've already explained with that. Am I asking you for $10? No, I'm not. I'm saying if you get the information, you want to buy me a coffee, buy me a coffee. So potentially that's not asking for money, is it? But there is another grey area, isn't it? So, yeah. I've got no problems with saying what I do. I do everything by the book here. And like I say, I don't give any BS, so it is what it is. It's a minefield. Of course it's a minefield. There are many things over here. It's a minefield. Corruption by the police is a minefield. My biggest fine, and the only fine that I've got from a corrupt policeman, was 1,800 baht. And he put his fingers in my wallet and took everything that was out of my wallet, 1,800 baht. Now, isn't that corrupt? Isn't that, yeah, it is. But 1,800 baht, it's the only corrupt payment that I've actually made ever in the 12 years of living here in Thailand. I've only ever used a visa agent once, and that was because I didn't have my retirement letter, which came the following day. But the wheels have been set in motion, and after I got the visa, he said the visa agent said I could have used last year's pension statement and saved myself 15,000 baht. So that's the one and only time I've never used. I've only ever used that agent once, and that's because I was green as grass and I didn't know the score. But now I'm a little bit more clued up, and what you can do and what you can't do is why I help other people, so you don't get scammed and you don't get ripped off. And that's one thing that I've never ever done, never ever will, is rip anybody off. Okay, but I hear people who have been put in prison working without a work permit. Yeah, you can be put in prison working without work permit. I'm in Rayong at the moment. Wonderful place. Thanks very much. Glad you think so. It is a wonderful place. Where do you get a TM30? Now, a TM30 is, if you go to a hotel or an Airbnb, it's their or a guest house, it's their responsibility to fill out the TM30, and they have to do that within 24 hours of you arriving there, and that informs immigration that you're actually living there. So it's the responsibility of the hotel, boarding house, guest house, or whatever, their responsibility. But you actually can do it yourself by going down to the immigration department. So that's one thing to check, that the TM30 is being filled out. Supposedly, the landlord or the property owner or the hotel can be fined by immigration for not filling the TM30 out. But sometimes, isn't it weird that you can be charged because you didn't make sure the TM30 was sent to immigration? I've heard of that before. So TM30, it's up to the responsibility of the hotel. I never fill out a TM30 ever, because I've got it stapled in my passport of my address side of things. So I've registered my address at immigration. Now, technically, going by the word, is that every time I've been on holiday or been up to my wife's up at Karat, we've just been up to my wife's at Karat, she should have filled out a TM30, say that I've stayed at her house for the 3 or 4 days that we stayed at it. Then I should inform immigration department that I'm back in my home address. We're going to Koh Kud later on this month again. So the hotel will say, put the TM30 in to say I'm living there. And then technically, when I get back home, I should inform immigration that I'm back at my home address. Nobody does that. Actually, they don't enforce the TM30 rule drastically. So I just wouldn't worry about it. But it can cause problems getting your visa. If you want to apply for a visa, you've got to have the TM30 say that you're living at the address for your application for your bank. If you want to open a bank account, you've got to have a TM30 and the information from the landlord or landlady to say that you're actually living there. So I've just spent 5 months Rayong Palm Beach area, and I was looking to buy a place. Really like the whole Rayong area, but the rubbish on the beach and is the rubbish on Rayong Palm Beach is rather bad, isn't it? I've seen it there, but you get some fantastic sunsets on Rayong Palm Beach. But we're sort of Swanson Beach, which is a little bit better. And then if you want the really, really good beaches, Mae Pim May Pim beaches are the best beaches around here, and they're a lot cleaner as well. But yeah, I mean, I think they've just bought a tractor with a skimmer on, and they drive up and down the beach now, skimming all the rubbish off the beach. That is sad with Thailand. Yeah, there's lots of rubbish everywhere. It's one of my pet hates that you just see people on slangs just throw rubbish onto the floor. There was a kid the other day, had an ice cream, he just threw the paper on the floor, and you know, I was one step, oh, hey, pick it up, you know, but is he going to understand? I mean, there's a Farang saying, what's the matter? It's just going to cause problems, isn't it? Education with regard to rubbish and people disposing of rubbish. We were on the boat, the ferry coming back from Koh Samet. On the boat, it was like the market boat, and it had bins everywhere. It had bins all over the boat. So anybody had any paper, put it in the bin on the boat. There was a guy drinking a can of pop, and the bin was right next to his feet, and he threw it in the sea. So education, isn't it? So yeah, the pollution. But even if you go down to Phuket, one of the most touristic place in the whole of Thailand, there's rubbish on the beach. There's rubbish on the beach everywhere. There's rubbish on the beach in Koh Samet. Everybody pays 200 baht to get on there for the national parks to look after the place, but there is still rubbish all over the Koh Samet. The worst place I've ever been to as far as rubbish on the beach is concerned is India, Goa. Oh, that was spectacularly filthy, really, really bad. But hey ho, that's the way it goes. So yeah, some days are worse than others in Rayong Beach, but it's a 11 or 12 kilometer beach, and sometimes the rubbish can go along the whole side, along the whole length of the beach. Swanson Beach and Chakpong Beach, where I live, you don't get so much rubbish, but it is still there, especially on the weekends. The Thais just throw everything. When the bins are full, just throw it on the floor. TM47, yeah, TM47 is the registration of your address. That's for like if you're living there full time, which I am. So my TM47 is actually stapled into my passport. The spelling of my area is Rayong, R-A-Y-A-N, Rayong, O-N-G, not Rayong. Rayong. And as I say, it's on the east coast of Pattaya. So we're sort of on the outskirts of Rayong province, near Klang. So the next province is Klang, but technically Klang is still in the same province as Rayong. But Rayong, there's a Rayong city, Banchang, then Ban Phe, and then there's Swanson. Then there's Chakpong where we are. Then there's another area, Lee Mae Pim. And Lee Mae Pim, I think, is just to say in the Klang district. But it's lovely. It's very, very nice here. Les, I noticed that the tuk-tuk you have has seating on it. Can you legally carry passengers in it? Thanks. Now, technically, they're illegal. The salangs are illegal here in Thailand, but they're sort of everywhere. And funny enough, when you go and get your motorbike tested every year for emissions test, now checking a motorbike for what we would call in England the MOT test is it's a 30-second test. That's all it takes is 30 seconds. But if you've got the sidecar on the motorbike, they're not allowed to do the test with the sidecar on the motorbike. So it takes 15 to 20 minutes to take the sidecar off to do a 30-second test, and then they'll take another 25-30 minutes to put the slang back on, and then you can go. And all they're doing is just testing the emissions from the exhaust. But it's the Thai law that they cannot test the bike with the slang on the side of the motorbike. So technically it's legal, but yes, you can get up to 5 people in the slang. And miraculously, and this is sort of a blind eye is turned again, another grey area, is that if you have an accident with a motorbike and sidecar, when you have the accident, the sidecar has never been on your motorbike. So all the paperwork's filled out that if you've got insurance on your motorbike, the Salang wasn't on the motorbike when you had the accident. So, yeah, but they're a marvelous thing. They have so many uses. It's such a versatile and interesting machine to drive. I love it, mate. I do. I know that took. Okay. My TM47 for my 90-day reporting. Where you can get it online. If you just look, if you type in TM47 Thailand, then the government will send you a link to it, and then you can download the TM47. But if you go to the immigration office itself, they have the forms there, TM47. But you can download a TM40. Well, you can download any Thai government form on the internet. You just go to the Thai embassy or Thai immigration, and you can download any and every single form that you need on the for anything to do with living in Thailand. But if you're doing the online 90-day report, through doing the 90-day report, you fill out a TM47 anyway. That's whilst you're doing the online reporting. And then as a final stage, it will show the TM47 that you've filled out. And if you agree with that, then you submit the, but I'm going to do the video on that, and I'll show you every step of the way, you know, the photographs of it and everything. But it's very, very simple to do. It takes you all of less than 10 minutes to do. And you get an answer back within 24 hours, 48 hours. So it's not difficult to do at all. But by merely going online to do your 90-day report, your TM47 is one of the main pieces of paper that you've got to fill out. But it's dead easy. Billy Bob, lots of rubbish and washed in from the sea, not just dropped on the beach. It's all bad. Yeah. Apparently now as well, there's been a couple of Portuguese men of war jellyfish, and they're only a little bit. Now, the last time I seen the Portuguese man of wars was in Australia, and there was a shoal of them came in, and all the kids were swimming, and they were getting stung by the tentacles, so they came out with it, screaming and that. And there was two found on Rayong Beach, the little blue bottle Portuguese man of wars, and the tentacles are about half a meter long, but they're very, 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 very painful. And apparently there was a couple washed up as well on Contentment Beach. So we're going to Koh Kud, which is further sort of down south, and hopefully, because we love snorkeling, that there isn't any blue bottles there, but we'll keep an eye and see what happens, because if you get stung by one of them, it's very, 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 very painful. No, TM30 is only supplied by the hotels and guest houses. That's to say that you're living there. A TM47 is your permanent address where you live in. And as I joined the Canadian Navy in 17 in July 68, in December I was drinking rum and coke in Hamilton, Bermuda. 1 year later, and it was scrumpy in Portsmouth. Yeah, 16-year-old. I left. I was only out of school 2 weeks, and I joined the Navy, and at 16-year-old. But then when I left the Navy, I came back home, and I had another job within 2 days of coming back to Redcar. And I basically walked in from one job to another, and I've never, ever been unemployed. It was 2 weeks after leaving school and 2 days. It's the only time I've ever been unemployed since leaving school. And I've walked from one job to another. I've been able to do many, many, many things. So there's always a way of making money, always a way of making money. So, but being an electrician was probably the most, electrician and children's leisure business, them to me were just a license to print money. It really, really was good. but again, many years ago. Highlights, do you get much trouble with ants? Are a nightmare where I am. Any food, even in the kettle, they get. Yeah, funny enough, just before I come out here, I was getting something out of the store cupboard, and I lifted this up, which is our cool bin to keep me water cool, and underneath it there was a nest, maybe it's couple of thousand ants. So I just got the spraying and sprayed it. Yes, we do get problem with ants. Basically, every day something there's an ant trail somewhere, so you've got to clear the ants, and that gets worse in the rainy season, because then all the ants want to move and save the eggs and things like that. So yeah, ants are sort of everywhere. It's a weekly case of you got to do something. But these little things here, these geckos here, they're good for mosquitoes and things like that. So any bugs on the night time, because we've got lights up there on every column, so it attracts the bugs, and they kill all the bugs and things like that. So it's just one of them problems that you got to live with. Ants, they're a nuisance, but some ant spray clears them up, and then it'll go and try and find somewhere else, and then so eventually you'll kill all the ants, and up until the next nest wants to relocate somewhere. But yeah, ants, the little buggers, you just leave a scrap of food in the bin. We empty our rubbish bin every night now, because if we put rubbish in the bin, we get up in the morning, there's a great big trail of ants into the bin. So now we empty the bin every night, so at least it stops the trail of ants getting into the waste food that's being put in the bin. But yeah, ants can be everywhere over here. Yeah, even in the kettle, exactly what you're saying. Like, I made myself a cup of coffee, and I always check the kettle now, because we have something, you can see them flicking around a little bit, and if any of them get into the water, then you just scoop them out with a spoon. But yeah, ants are everywhere. Alice, have you come across many snakes and dodgy spiders over there? As my missus is quite concerned. Thanks. Yes, spiders. We've had spiders are okay. Spiders aren't the problem. We've had 2 snakes in the house, and we've had a few scorpions outside. But I've lived here for 12 years, and I've never ever seen a cobra. Now, the cobras are awful things, they can kill you, the cobras. But the 2 snakes that we had in the house, and I'll go through why they're in the house in a minute, but they were just like rat snakes or tree snakes. So they were still about 3/4 of a meter long, and the wife's scared of anything. So I would have just shoot it out the house, or got it out of the house, because I knew they weren't venomous and they couldn't have hurt you. But the wife wanted me to kill it. And she's shouting, kill it, as she stood on the table. So anyway, I killed them both. But I wasn't happy about it. But for me, if you see a snake, take big steps in the opposite direction. As long as you're not trying to hurt them, they're not going to try and hurt you. And that even goes to a cobra. If you see a cobra, can kill you because of the venom in that. But thankfully, I've never seen one in the 12 years I've lived here in Thailand. Scorpions, we've seen scorpions in the rainy season. See more of them. But the snakes, how they got into the house before in the house, our back door had a gap underneath the door. And that's how one snake got in, because it was only a baby snake. It was only about that long, but it was very thin, and it got underneath the door. And then in the second one, when we first moved up here, the wife was so concerned about, we were going away on holiday. She wanted us to put the motorbike inside of the house. Unbeknown to us, a snake had made its home in the rear mudguard of our house. Or it was hiding in the rear mudguard of our house, of the motorbike. So when we put the bike in the house, it just came out from hiding, and it found it slithered around the house, because you could see a snake skin on the floor, and then it just disappeared, and it was behind one of the pictures. And I think, wow, that picture looks a bit skewedy-wifty. Moved it, and there's the snake, fell out. And so it'd been in the house for a week, because we've been away on holiday. So now the motorbike never ever comes into the house. So yeah, take precautions. We put a door brush seal at the bottom of all the doors, same as in the bedroom, so creepy crawlies can't crawl around the house and can't get in underneath the door. And even at the front door here, because we have a couple of lizards that live underneath our sofa, if we have the front door open, we have a board across the bottom, so it can't just scoot around and think, oh, what's in there? Let me have a little look in there. So it's like everything, take precautions and you're okay. But once you know about it, it's okay. But when I was in Australia for 3 months, I personally seen 8 out of the top 10 things that can kill you in Australia. And, so top 8 of the top 10s in the world that can kill you live in Australia. So, yeah, there's nothing to be frightened of them, really. Just be aware and just don't keep any rubbish around the house where snakes can hide. So it's just being a little bit more careful, that's all. But it's not dangerous. Utapao Airport, yeah, that's an international airport as well, but that's got a future for being a bigger airport, and that's like the Pattaya Airport. But from there you can fly to Phuket, and you can fly to forget what the name of the island is, but you can fly to various places from Utapao Airport. Question, so the Thai insurance pays for 5, not 2 people on the motorbike. Thai insurance pays for 5, not 2 people on the motorbike. What is it insured for? Only 2 people insured. Oh. Now, here's the official answer, but it's not official, if you know what I mean. It's another grey area. If people are injured on a motorbike, then the insurance pays for the accident, no matter how many people have been injured, because there might have been on a bystander. They make the form fit to whatever the accident is. For instance, there's a guy that I know, didn't have any medical insurance, didn't have any insurance on the motorbike that he was driving, and he had an accident whilst being drunk. He was on the wrong side of the road because he just come, and he was fresh out of America, so he's in his mind, especially when he was drunk, he was on the wrong side of the road, and he hit a truck, and he had to have 2 toes amputated because he hit the truck, and he didn't have any medical insurance, and the bike wasn't insured. But miraculously, the bike was insured the following morning, and his medical bill was covered by the insurance from the motorbike, even though he had to have 2 toes amputated. There was a lot of brown envelopes being fudged around, and he still got the treatment. So yeah, whether there's 2 people on the motorbike or 5 people on the motorbike, that's it. But as far as insurance is concerned, for you as a foreigner, if you've got travel insurance, or if you've got any type of insurance for traveling abroad, and you don't have your license or international driver's license, or you don't wear your helmet, then technically you are not insured for that motorbike accident, and the insurance is not going to pay. So it's make sure that you've got your insurance, your travel insurance check, because if you have an accident on a motorbike and you don't have the appropriate license, they ain't going to pay, and that's a certainty over here, so be warned, be careful. You need a big snake. A big snake will get rid of the smaller snake. That's true. Hi, Hella, still happy with the new motorbike. Absolutely over the moon with it. I really am. Apart from the display, but who looks at the display anyway? We tootle around just to the 7-Eleven or down into Banpay. Like when we went down to the Kite Festival, Banpay was heaving. So it was easier to go on the motorbike than to go in the car. So that's what we did. We went on the motorbike, and it's easier to park. But yeah, A little scooter is invaluable over here. They're fantastic, and I love the motorbike. Yeah, it's brilliant, and I hope I can have as much fun on this one for the next 9 years. Thanks again. Had a snake in the yard the other day. Looked like a cobra. Dogs were going man and managed to get the poison spat in their eyes. Oh, luckily got the cure for their eyes. Managed to get rid of it with help. Yeah, you can actually, there's, if you call the police, then the fire brigade come and get rid of the snake. So there are people who will get rid of it for you. But yeah, the snakes. That's what I'm saying. Is you really have to be tidy outside your house to make sure that there's no areas for the snakes to sit and hide. Same with plants and shrubs and things like that. Always. It's like when we go away for a week or 2 weeks, when we're not here. When we go around the garden, it's like the sofa. We'll bang it with a big stick, so anything that's in there or hiding underneath of it, it'll scoot off in the opposite direction. Usually with snakes, they're more scared of you, even the cobras and the pythons and things like that, than you are of them. And as long as you make enough noise, they'll disappear. They'll go somewhere else. I lived in Australia for 20 years, only seen one snake, and it was just green snake. It's illegal to kill the snakes in Australia. Like crocodiles, you can't kill them. I was in Australia for 3 months, and I was in a bit of a bubble living in Australia, because living in Sydney for a month, you don't see anything like that. And we went to the Three Sisters Mountains just outside of Sydney, and I got out the car and this guy was shouting at me, "Be careful, be careful, be careful." And there was a big brown-backed snake, which is one of the poisonous snakes in Australia, and he'd been trying to get rid of it with a stick, so he just made it more and more mad. So potentially, if anybody walked past it, you could strike at somebody. So that was it. And then I seen there on Surfers Paradise Beach the blue bottles, or Portuguese man o' wars, stingers. We were in Melbourne, and we had a nighttime walk around the campsite that we're at, and they showed us the funnel web spiders and the snakes. And it's just like, wow, it's just like, do I want to live in Australia? No, I don't. So, top 8 things out of the top 10 things that can kill you live in Australia, and that's without an Australian. Hi, Les, on the road again. PJ, hello, PJ. Enjoy your travels, matey. Thanks very much for dropping in. Hi, Les, how often do you and Play get to the beach for a picnic? We can go anytime we want. I suppose it's like everything. Once you live here, you don't use the beach every day. I mean, Play's down there this weekend now selling her sausages and the snacks. She goes there every Saturday and Sunday now. It gets her out of the house. She talks to other type, because we live 24/7 with each other. So it's nice for her to sit and chat to other people, and she makes a little bit of money doing it as well. It's not that she needs the money, she doesn't need the money, but she likes to have the chat with other people. Same as me when I have my brunch club with my Americans, Canadians, British, Irish. We put the world to right when we go and have our brunch club. So it's nice for me to talk with the other expats. It's like it's nice for her to talk to the other Thai people. So, but yeah, we usually go at the beach maybe once a month or something like that. So yeah, we can go down to the beach anytime we want. It's on our doorstep, so I suppose we don't use it as often as what we should. But in a couple of weeks' time, we're off to Kokud again, because we love Kokud. It's a fantastic place. So now there's a group of us. We've booked five little apartments. So there's a group of us going down there for 3 days. So we're looking forward to that. That should be good. Oh, Pat, PJ, it's Pat. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's get on to something else. I think I sort of started this topic, but I got I got waylaid a little bit. It's with regard to, for those people who want to come and live over here full time, about protecting yourself and using a lawyer and things like that. And there's one guy, Ploy and J, I think it is. They've just built a house, I think, and he's on about buying a condo. And so I answered one of his questions, was that about buying off plan here. Now, one of my friends over here bought off plan. He bought 7 condos. So the warning things here, that all that glitters isn't gold over here. Be very, very, very careful. Now, sadly, he got stung for 9.5 million baht, and he's lost 9.5 million baht buying 7 condos that will never, ever, ever, ever get finished. So he's lost all of that money, because if it sounds so good to be true, then it is. And he was starstruck. He just come over here type of thing, and he thought, oh, this is going to give me a fantastic retirement by giving him all of this money, and he's going to build me 7 condos. And he's lost everything, and it's been a nightmare for 2 years, and it's still going on, and he's never, ever, ever going to get his condos, and he's never, ever, ever going to get his money. So buying off plan, I think it's got its advantages, but it's got a lot of disadvantages as well. If you buy something that's already built, you can see it, walk around it, touch it, feel it, and you know it's there. It's not some salesman who will tell you anything and everything you want to know and promise you the world. But if it doesn't get delivered, he's somewhere else selling something somewhere else. Whereas if it's a property and it's built, okay, you'll pay a little bit more money from it, but you can sleep at night knowing that it's built and you can see everything about it. So that's protecting yourself. Do your due diligence also. And if you're buying something and you're with a Thai partner or a girlfriend or a wife or whatever, there are ways of protecting yourself also with prenuptials. And if the Thai girl doesn't like a prenuptial, well, then walk away, get another Thai girlfriend, because at the end of the day, it's your money and you only get one chance at this type of thing. Because let's face it, at 65, if you get divorced at 30 and 40, you've got time to recover. But if at 65 and above, which is the majority of age retirees over here, you don't get a second bite of the cherry, and you ain't going to be able to recover. So protect yourself from day one. It may not, suit or sit well with your own feelings of trustworthiness and reliability, and like, I don't want to do this because it shows that I untrust. But it saves you a fortune. And just tell the person that you're with why you're doing it and for whatever reasons. And then if they're not happy with it, then you don't want to be with that person anyway. And same with people who are buying cars and motorbikes and putting in your Thai girlfriend's name. If you split up for any reason, trying to get them items back, it's a gift. And the Thai judgment and the courts are always going to find it more appeasing for the Thai person because it was a gift, because you've got nothing in writing. So take care with everything with regard to what you're buying gift-wise. But if you're married, it's sort of a 50-50 anyway. So you're going to lose 50% of whatever you've got or you put together. Just keep records of everything that you paid and how you paid it, etc., etc. So you got a little bit of maneuverability. But even so, if you don't trust the person, don't marry him. If you don't trust the person, don't buy him anything. You can get everything and anything put into your name here. Cars, motorbikes. You can buy a car on a rent-to-buy agreement, and it will be in your name at the end of it. And same with a motorbike. You can buy it on a rent-to-buy basis, and it will be in your name at the end of the deal. Some people say, that's being stingy. It's being protective of yourself. And that's what you've got to do over here in Thailand, because you don't get a second chance. I know a number of people who've lost everything over here. And it's no good crying over spilt milk, because what's done is done, but they could have protected themselves from day one. It's just a bit of like stupidity and naivety that they've lost and got rid of everything over here. take precautions. I've taken precautions, so I don't lose anything and everything over here. Will I lose something? Yes. If my employee splits up for any reason, I'd lose a little bit of money, but it's not going to be everything, if you know what I mean. It's not going to be the house, the car, the motorbike. I've got some recompense from it all, so I'd still walk away with at least 50% of whatever I paid for over here, which is, in some cases, people have walked away and lost 100% of whatever they've lost or bought. So yeah, take precautions. Trust nothing. Hi Les, we'll be coming over to retire soon, but we are allowed to buy a small property outright. Thanks. Yeah, you're allowed to buy. You can actually own the house, but you'll never ever own the land that it sits on. So I'm going to do a video with regard to that, where you can lease the land and you can buy one of these pop-up houses, they're called, where you can get one built and it sits on stilts or something like that. That house will always be yours, and you can sell it if you want or whatever. But also there's a way through a company formation. Some people will say it's technically illegal because you're circumventing the law, but buying it through a company, and it is still legal. This was given back to me by a lawyer. It is still legal to do that, but it's still a bit of a grey area. But the most popular way of doing it is getting it on a 30 plus 30 plus 30 year lease. So altogether, you've got a lease for 90 years. Are you still going to be around in 90 years? And you can actually get that in writing. So let's say, for instance, the house and the land was, say, let's say 3 million. So you buy the land and the house for 3 million, but you put the house on a lease basis. So it's just a recurring lease after 30 years, 30 years, 30 years. So anytime during that period, you can actually sell the house and the land, because technically it belongs to you, because you've leased the land. But again, it's a lawyer that you need to see with regard to that. But there are ways and legal ways for you to be able to do it. You'll never own the land, but you can lease the land for up to 90 years. So a lawyer is your friend. But again, do that when you're over here. But you can own a condo. But again, there are some restrictions on a condo. Let's say if there's 100 condos in a unit or whatever, only 49 of them condos out of the 100 can belong to a foreigner. The other 51 condos have to belong to Thais. So there's a guy that I know bought off plan, and he could only sell it because he thought he was going to flip it, but he could only sell it to a Thai person. Now, a Thai person doesn't pay the same price as a foreigner, that's for sure. So he was stuck with it for 5 years before he could sell it to another foreigner, because the balance was wrong. He wasn't allowed to sell it to a foreigner, but he could sell to a Thai person. And it took 5 years before that balance became in his favor, that he could sell it to another foreigner. So even though you can own the condo outright, there are some restrictions to be able to sell it to another foreigner if the numbers are in the wrong direction. Never put a Thai lady on paper house. That's dangerous. She can kick you out and claim. Yeah. This is one of the horror stories, the scary stories that goes around. I mean, of course they can do that. But if you know all of this in the first place, then you can take precautions to do that. And if the girl won't sign this agreement, then you're with the wrong girl anyway. Because, I think it's fair that if you're in a relationship with something, is that it's not a one-sided street. So if you're with this girl for 10 years and then you split up, she gets absolutely nothing. She should be able to claim something, because she's been given 10 years of her life to you. So there's got to be some recompense for that. And I think that's how the courts look upon it. But I just think it's also selfish, the fact that you expect this girlfriend to be with you for 10 years. And at the end of 10 years, if you just say, go away now, you're too old, I'm going to get a younger model, then that's a bit wrong as well. Is why for me, you need to set this up with a lawyer in the first, if you're going to buy a house, a car, a motorbike together or whatever, get this in writing, so you know where you're splodging and she knows where she's splodging. And if she's not happy with it, then she'll walk away and find somebody else. And if you're not happy, you walk away and you find somebody else as well. So protect yourself. Number one, you protect yourself. No matter how you look upon it, it's your money at the end of the day. And so many Thai girls can do that and have done that and will do that if you're with the wrong person. But take precautions. Look at everything before you sign everything and make sure that everything is hunky-dory. If you know what I mean. I trust Ploy 100%, and I've trust Ploy from the first day, and she's never let me down in anything. She's never lied to me. She's never done anything bad to me. She's as honest as the day is long. She's probably one of the most trustworthy people that I've ever met in my life, and we get on good together. So would it be wrong if we've been together 8 years this year, if I just walked away and said, no, that's it, you're not going to get anything now, just go away, I don't want to be with you anymore? Isn't that unfair? Because she's given 8 years of her life also looking after me, taking care of me, so she warrants nothing out of that? No. For me, have it in your own mind what you're happy. You will never ever get away scot-free here. You'll never ever be able to just walk away and just think, oh, well, I'm not going to give her anything, she gets nothing. There's a price to pay no matter where you live in the world. Again, my second wife, I met her, she had 2 suitcases full of clothes, living in a rented house, and when we got divorced, she ended up with a £150,000 house with a £30,000 mortgage and maintenance for the next 12 to 15 years. Not a bad deal then, really, was it, for meeting me with 2 suitcases full of clothes? So it doesn't just happen in Thailand, it happens worldwide as well. You ask anybody, any guy that's got divorced, and guys inevitably come off it worst. There are, things, prenuptials, things like that, you can take precautions in it. And I would say that we live in an age now where everybody needs to take precautions. The ladies need to take precautions, also do the guys. So it's like a 50-50 agreement. Sit and chat and discuss about it, and also discuss with what's going to happen when you die. Because if you have a property, you might have family that you want to use it or pass it on to your family, things like that. So there are many things to discuss, by being together for long term. So right, that's another one. Any other questions? Oh, my wife's coming back in. She's finished selling her sausages today. Okay, I've got here no news about the tax. I think we discussed that earlier on with regard to the tax in Thailand. Everybody's scared about the tax rules and things like that. There are no definite rules at the end of the day as to the tax laws. It will happen when it happens, and for those people, just don't get worried about it. Cross that bridge when we come to it, and we'll see what happens when it happens. So where have we got here? I think we've pretty much discussed everything now on my list. So has anybody got any other questions that they want to ask? We've been at it now for 2 hours, 38 minutes. Normally it goes on for about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. It's a longer, 3.5 hours is the longest I've been on. So whilst you're here, if you've got any questions, go ahead and ask. Because living in Thailand, as I said, it can be good and bad. There are many good experiences here. And I'd like to think that there are more good experiences than bad experiences. But I've heard both good and bad. And same with me. I've had good experiences and bad experiences. And for me, it's where you're living as well, where you're going to live, where you're going to There's some people like it by the beach, and some people like it in the countryside. Now, we've just returned from Ploy's farm, which is in the middle, literally in the middle of nowhere. Beautiful as it is, it would drive me stay crazy living there 24/7. Because I am the only Farang in the village, and there's no other foreigners to talk to. So you go to the market, and everybody's just farmers there. It's all to do with farming and agriculture. So the biggest city is Karat, which is an hour and a half away. The nearest 7-Eleven is 30-minute drive away. So there is local shops and the market and things like that, but absolutely nothing to do. So for these people who say they want to meet a girl that's from the village and something like that, in reality, you would never, ever, ever go to my wife's village where my wife come from, because it's literally in the middle of nowhere. There's only one resort type of thing where people could stay, but it's a Thai resort, so it's very, very cheap. So why would somebody go up to that village to go and meet a girl who probably couldn't speak much English? So the country girl that people are looking for, you know, they're there, but it is very difficult to actually go and meet them, because 6 hours away, 6 hours it takes to drive to my wife's village. So therefore, it's a long way to go, and there's no bars, there's no entertainment, there's not even a restaurant there. So what would you do? So there are many ways how you can meet people over here. You know, they're everywhere. You don't just have to go to patio to meet the girls. 7-Eleven girls, you know, the girls that work in the supermarkets, the girls that work in Tesco Lotus. You know, it's just having the courage to sit and talk to the people. Online dating over here is fraught with danger, because you have no idea, you know, what the real life is, what the real story is. They're not going to tell you that they're working in the bars and things like that, because, you know, that's going to frighten a lot of guys off. If they say, I'm working in the bars, or I'm working in the restaurant in patio or something like that, the amount of guys that say, I don't want a bar girl, don't want a bar girl, don't want a bar girl. I think bar girls get a big, they're all tarred with the same brush, if you like. They're as good and bad in everybody, no matter where they are. So if you want to go and meet somebody online, treat it with treat them all with respect, and you get the feeling through talking to them online and something like that. And my friend always told me about the 3 strike rule, is that if you think they're lying or something like that the first time, it might be a little bit of paranoia, but the second time that you think they're lying to you, you're more than likely right, and the third time you're definitely right. Get shot, move on to something else. There are some fantastic girls here, and there are some sharks here as well. And it's the same with the guys. There are some fantastic guys, and then there are some really, really bad guys who don't treat people with respect. Don't be one of the guys that don't treat people with respect. Just because they do what they do over here in Thailand doesn't mean to say that they're all bad girls or they're all bad people. There's good and bad in everything around the world. Looking really well there, Les. Really appreciate your ongoing, interesting and honest content. Morning, Play. Oh, yeah. No, just leave it off now. It's okay. You don't need to put it back on. Okay. Okay, well, check the... Okay, I won't be long. Good day? A good day? Okay, good.
I have to buy more sausage today.
Oh, okay, all right. Now, my wife just come back and said a good day on the beach today, selling sausages or whatever. So, where we get to? Who's cooking tea tonight? My wife already, what she does on a Friday, she prepares the food over the weekend, because she's away selling the food on a Saturday and Sunday. So we've got it in the freezer or in the fridge. It's just pink. She's cooked it, but it's ping rewarmable food. And I think I've got green curry and rice tonight, which is, she makes some nice green curry. Good night then, Les. Thanks for the information. Okay, Scott, thanks very much. Thanks very much for joining. And look forward to the next time. You'll be over here soon anyway. Looking really well there, Les. Really appreciate your ongoing, interesting and honest content. Well, it is honest. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't give any BS. I give it how it is. And if anybody asks me a question, I'll give them, a blunt answer. I tell it how it is. And that's always the best way to do everything, isn't it? Can you get a retirement visa on a 30-day visa? Yes, you can. But the easiest ways of doing that, you need 28 days. It's like a chicken and egg situation where you need a bank account open, but you can't open a bank account unless because you're a retirement visa, and you can't open a retirement visa unless you have a bank account, or chicken and egg. So basically, there's 2 or 3 ways that you can do it. Because your initial 30 days, you can extend that by 30 days anyway, so that gives you 60 days, and you need a 28 days on your visa to be able to get your bank opened and your visa. So probably the easiest way of doing that is using an agent, because an agent can open your bank account and get your visa all sorted out. But you can do it if you want to do it yourself, and you can open up a bank account. Now, I would still say you need an agent to open a bank account, and that could cost up to 5,000 baht. And then you need 2 months to be able to put 65,000 baht into a bank account. Now, that needs to be 2 calendar months. So that's 2 separate months. And that shows the immigration that you've got an income method of 65,000. So then you can apply for your retirement visa through the income method at 65,000. But using a visa agent, you don't have to show anything. An agent, and that could cost up to between 30 and 40,000 baht if you want them to open up a bank account and get your visa sorted out, and that gives you 15 months. So visa agents have their ways. They wave their magic wand and you get your 15-month visa. But it is possible to do everything yourself, even on a tourist visa, because you extend it. And even if you have to do one border run to Cambodia and get another 15 days, which can be extended by another 15 days. So there's ways and means of doing it by yourself, but you have to get all your ducks in a row, do your research, know where you have to go, what you have to do. Planning and preparation ensures that you're going to get your visa. But it is possible to do it yourself, even on a 30-day tourist visa, yes. I told you that it's very risky buying a plan. Even the biggest companies can go bust. Exactly, yeah. I personally speaking, I wouldn't buy anything off plan, no matter how much the savings are, because it's not built. And there's another guy I know from many years ago. He bought off plan. He was 65-year-old, and he had 2 more years before he could, before he was going to retire. So he retired at 67, and he said, I'm going to move in. And it was a place in Pattaya, and he bought it. And the restrictions, when he was 67, he had 2 years to pay for it. And on his 67th birthday, he had to pay the final payment. And if it was a month late of the final payment, then he would lose all of his money. So the restrictions for him were very, very severe. So when he came back to Pattaya, just before his 67th birthday, he went out to the office, which had moved. And he thought, oh, this isn't looking good, because it's still a building site where his condo was going to be. So he found the other office, went in, and they said, yeah, you have to pay this amount of money. And he said, but it's not built, it's not finished. And then they showed him the contract that they were allowed to overrun by 12 months, the small print in the contract. So now he's renting a place. He should have been moving into his own apartment. So now he's renting a place for at least another 12 months at 15,000 baht a month. So he said to them, well, I hope you're going to pay me rent. They said, no, in the contract, we will give you some compensation. That may be a microwave or a fridge freezer, about 10,000 baht, something like that. So he had to pay rent, 15,000 baht for another condo. And it was actually 15 months before he actually moved into his condo. So 67, he had all his ducks in a row thinking, okay. And he was the guy who was just going to live on his state pension, and that was it at the time. This is going back quite a few years now. But he had to pay another 15,000 baht a month for 15 months before he could move into his own apartment. And that's because he bought it off plan. So take another 15,000 baht a month for 15 months. That wiped out anything that he was going to save. So yeah, I agree. Buying off plan can be good. You can save money if everything goes correctly. But I prefer seeing it bricks and mortar. It's built, it's there, it's solid. I can buy it and I know I'm going to move into it. So for me, I wouldn't buy off plan. Did many of your friends from the fire service retire early? Yes. Well, when you say retire early, they retired at 50 when they could do. There was a lot of people retiring at 50 years old and could retire at 50. But also, there's a couple of people that I know who didn't retire at 50. Like my boss, he was 2 years older than me. And after I did my round the world trip, I called to see him at his house and I was talking to him. I said, why are you still working? And it worked out that he was working in the fire brigade, taking into account his lump sum, what he would have got for interest off his lump sum and his monthly pension. It worked out he was working for £25 a week in the fire brigade. So that's all he was getting extra, £25 a week, and taking all that responsibility in charge of, fire station and, charge of incidents and things like that. And I sort of talked him into retiring. I said, you can go and push trolleys around Asda and get more money than what you're going to get by working for the fire brigade and all that responsibility. So he retired. And a couple of months afterwards, he rang me up and he said, Les, he said, it's the worst decision I've ever made. He said, I'm bored. He said, when I was in the fire brigade, I was a big fish in a little pond. He said, but now, he said, I'm a little fish in a massive lake. And he said, I regret the day that I retired. He said, I love the fire brigade. He said, I should have carried on working. And, it's up to you. If you've got no hobbies or interests and things like that, then retirement might not be for you, because it's a big change from working, getting up, having that something to do. And the fire brigade, I love the fire brigade. I'd do it all again tomorrow if I could. No regrets. But I also took to retirement like a duck takes the water. I love it. I love having the freedom, the financial freedom, because I get a pension every month. I don't have to work. I have enough money that I can live on. Life is good. I can go down to the beach anytime I want. I live in a beautiful country. I have a good lifestyle. And my days are filled up every day. I'm never, ever bored. I've got to say, in 12 years I've been, or 14 years I've been retired now, I've never, ever been bored. Never. I've always got something to do. I've always got interesting things. It's having interests. If you used to work and work was, for me, you don't live to work, as some people do, live to work. Never be one of the OMYs. 1 more year and I'm going to retire. 1 more year and I'm going to retire. That's it. Next year I'm going to retire. Next year I'm going to retire. I'll just do 1 more year. Either do it or not. And, you're a long time dead. And for me, especially now, when you can't retire until you're 67, all your good years have already gone. All them strong, healthy years. From 67 onwards, you're also going to be a lot more tired and a lot more, health-wise, a lot worse condition than what you are in your 40s and 50s. So retire as soon as you can, for as long as you can, and when you can. Love the channel, Les. Yorkshire lass here love the channel, Les. Yorkshire lass here eventually. Oh, I need to put my glasses on. It's getting dark now, so I've got my glasses, but I try to do without them. But yeah, okay, Yorkshire lass. Okay, well done. Thanks very much for joining us. We're into almost 3 hours now. Another 6 minutes, and we're into 3 hours. It usually goes on for about 3 hours or so, which is very good. And as you can see now, it is 6:43, nearly 6:45, and this is it. It's dusk out here now, and but look, I'm still sat in the t-shirt. If I was sat in England now, I'd have to have my fleece on. I would have to have my fleece on all the time. I've got my fan in the distance here, blowing the cool air at me. It's just lovely. So look, the feeling of well-being over here in Thailand, being warm every day, not cold, and having enough money to live on, not having to worry about paying for bills, not having to worry about paying for your gas and your electricity and something like that. That feeling is invaluable, and that is going to prolong your life for sure, than having the worries, the stresses, the strains of living in the modern Western world. The crime rate here is next to zero, where I live anyway. But is there crime? But yes, there is. There's crime everywhere in the world, but the crime here is nowhere near as bad as it is in the so-called developed Western world. You know, I sing Thailand's praises all the time. I love it here. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. It's not perfect, but it's 85-90% perfect for me, and I love it living here. And as I say, the people that I show who come to see me what they can get for not a lot of money, every single person agrees, apart from one. Oh, and I said I'll talk about this one person earlier on. The one and only person that disagreed with me was realistic. It's one of the stories anyway. It's a good story, but have a realistic view of Thailand. This guy came to me. He was 72 years old, and he actually came to Rayong to meet me. And I usually like 1 or 2 days notice to say, come and meet, so I can put things in order, because I do meet other people and I've got things to do myself. And he rang me up on the morning. He said, I'll be in Rayong this afternoon. Can you meet me? I said, oh, well, I said, I'd like to have had a bit of notice. Yeah, well, he said, I'm there now. He said, I'm coming to get a feeling of Rayong. I said, well, how long are you staying for? He said, oh, just 1 day. He said, I'm going back tonight. I said, well, you can't get the feeling of Rayong in 1 day. He said, well, I'll get enough of a view what I want to see. He said, I'm coming to talk to you anyway. So he said, I'll get my view. And it's impossible to get a feeling of any place in like an afternoon, 2 or 3 hours. So I agreed to meet him in Banpei and at the coffee shop. And I ask everybody this question. Everybody that I meet, I ask them the question: what you're looking for? What is it in your life that you're looking for? What do you want out of life? And he said to me, I want a Thai woman, not old, but he said not young either. So he said, but I want a Thai woman with her own house, her own car. She doesn't need to be financially dependent upon me. I don't want her to have any kids. And if she has a fishing lake, I'll be over the moon. And I said, what are you going to give her up? He said, nothing. He said, I'm just going to be with her. I said, well, what's your health like? Oh, he said, I've got a few health issues. And I said, okay, I'm going to be blunt. There are not many Thai ladies with their own house, their own car, financially solvent, doesn't need any money from anybody, that has no kids, and has a fishing lake. So I said, I think you've been a little bit unrealistic in what you're looking for. He said, Rayong is a beep, beep, beep. He said, I wouldn't want to live here. It's bloody awful. I said, well, on that note then, I said, just wasted time having a conversation with you. And he got up and he walked away. 72-year-old, failing health, wanted a Thai lady with her own house, her own car, and financially dependent, so she doesn't going to ask him for any money. Oh, I couldn't name one lady that's looking for a 72-year-old man with no money. So realistic, it's a two-way situation here. There's a financial transaction, there's financial implications, no matter where you are in the world. So in Thailand, it's just the same, except them realizations can be a lot cheaper here. Buying a house is much cheaper here than living in the UK. The house that I'm living in now, I paid the same price for this as I would do my very, very first house that I bought in the UK when I was 23 was a 1-bedroom bungalow, and it's £71,000. It's up for sale now in Normanby in the northeast of England. A 1-bedroom, very small 1-bedroom, 1 living room, a little bit more than a studio. In fact, there's some bigger studios over here that was bigger than my place, and that was £71,000. And this house that I'm living in now, 2-bedroom detached house, nice gardens, lovely area, 5 minutes drive from the beach, was less than that. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's about the same, somewhere near the same. But that's what I'm saying. Your value for money over here goes much, much, much further. There's no council tax to pay over here. My council tax, if I lived in that house, was £150 a month. Even if I didn't live in the house, it's £150 a month. So, and this house, when I rented it, was 12,000 baht a month. So that's £250, less than £250 a month to rent a beautiful 2-bedroom house, fully furnished, in a nice area, 5 minutes drive from the beach. I should say no more. Hiya, me and the missus have really enjoyed spending time with you this morning and can't wait to get over there. Thanks a million and see you on the next live stream. Okay, thanks very much. And look forward to meeting you both when you come over here. As I say, I know I've just rambled on a little bit more, but as I say, you are going to see and you will be amazed at what I can show you when you come over here, because it is how I'm exactly saying it here, and you'll have your mouths open. You think, wow, it's so cheap, and what you get for your money. So thanks very much for joining me and being a part of the live stream. Again, 3 hours now, and I'm going to call it a day, because 3 hours, and I'm feeling a little bit hungry now, and the wife's here, and I can hear the microwave whizzing around. So it looks like my tea will be ready very, very soon. So thanks for all those people who joined the live stream. As I say, send me an email if you want to know, if you want to have a chat, a $10 chat or whatever, no problem. Just send me an email and we'll arrange a chat or whatever. So thanks very much for joining me. Until the next time, bye for now.